ESPN College Football presented by McDonald's. And we are in Montgomery, Alabama on an absolutely perfect Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you, everybody. And what better than the Turkey Day Classic, the 93rd edition. Alabama State taking on Miles College from beautiful Hornet Stadium on the campus of Alabama State University. And high above in the booth, along with former NFL quarterback Jay Walker, I'm Eric Clemens. Happy Thanksgiving to you, and thank you for spending part of your Turkey Day with us here on the ESPN family of networks. 93rd edition of the Turkey Day Classic for Alabama State. This has been going on for weeks. All kinds of activities going on around this place, leading up to homecoming, reunion of friends, families. Nothing better to top it off than with a victory. You're expected to win against a Division II team, but Miles has other things in mind. They are prepared for this game, and they come in with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder.
The head coach, Reginald Ruffin, has made it clear. All the pressure is on Alabama State. Alabama State's supposed to win this game. They're the FCS school. Miles College is Division II. Coach Ruffin plans on using that to his advantage. That becomes a very tough task for head coach Brian Jenkins of Alabama State, staying focused, not trying to overplay an opponent you're supposed to beat.
Of course, this game has been going on, as we said, but starting in 1924, the 93rd edition being played, of course, this year. It's the oldest continuous HBCU Classic, and, of course, it was originally played by Alabama State and Tuskegee. And I tell you what, it is a very important weekend for all the people around here at Alabama State, and the perfect opportunity for an opponent coming in here to spoil things for him. Coach Reginald Ruffin, of course, has ties back to Tuskegee, a team that has given more than its share of problems to Alabama State during this rivalry in the Turkey Day Classic. And on the other side of the field, Brian Jenkins, in his second year at Alabama State with a record of 9-12. Jenkins, a winning pedigree that goes back to his head coaching days at Bethune-Cookman.
And one thing you'll know about Brian Jenkins, he cares about winning rivalry games. I think the thing that hurt him the most this year was the loss to Alabama A&M in the Magic City Classic. He took a lot of pride in having a winning record in the Florida Classic, and he wants to continue to dominate this series versus Miles for the Turkey Day Classic.
David Albert about to kick it deep to Cedric Poole and Devin Brown. It's fielded at the 3 and whacked down hard at about the 12-yard line is Devin Brown. And we do have a couple of flags now. 3 flags come in, so I'm sure some extracurricular stuff after the tackle was made is going to hurt somebody here.
And it was a great play by special teams, and you hate to see that great play be diminished by any type of unsportsmanlike conduct penalty after the play. So now, not the start you want for Miles College. You had a bad return to start off with, then the penalty against Miles, and now they're going to start off with horrible field position to start this football game.
And Jarius Shade, the one committing that infraction on the kickoff, which only got out to about the 12, so half the distance puts it at the 6. And again, a little bit smaller in terms of stature is Miles, playing on the Division II level in the SIAC. They are ready to go against this bigger Alabama State team, especially Roderick Henderson, all 350 pounds of him, manning one of the nose tackle spots, the run stuffer. And a handoff coming near side. And it looks like Ja'Carry Jackson, who is starting in place of the injured Jamarcus Nance today. Daniel McGee brings him down after a very short game, if any at all.
David Whipple, you see the numbers on the quarterback, 54% passer, dual threat guy. Better runner than he is a passer. He's going to have to make some things happen outside of the pocket on the scrambles.
He had some movement on the interior before the snap went over Whipple's head and out of the back of the end zone. And so a shaky start. We get a penalty on the opening kickoff, and now we have a penalty in the interior, and Alabama State was offsides.
So you're going to see guys on the inside talked about big ghost Roderick Henderson, number 94. When he moves, you're going to catch him.
Yes.
At 352 pounds. Hard to hide when he's off sides. Fortunate for Miles that he jumped off sides, or else that would have been a safety. Snap over the center, over the quarterback.
We'll make it 2nd down and 6 now. And Whipple looking far side. The quick slant pattern is open. And 1st down yardage gained out across the 25 to the 26-yard line. A gain of 16 by Devin Brown, the 5'9", 175-pound junior out of Cincinnati, Ohio, with a nice-looking catch.
Nice-looking throw by David Whipple. Watch him throw behind Courtney Berry, the linebacker, 32, is buzzing underneath the route, able to throw a strike to Devin Brown. And good job by the offensive line giving him protection, which is a question mark in this game.
Coach Ruffin said his lines must control the line of scrimmage. There's a long pass, and the interception going for missed. And now running untouched into the end zone, 74 yards on the touchdown, is Ernest Bell. But there is a flag on the play at the 40-yard line of Alabama State. Defensive back went for it all, going for the interception, totally missed, and that left Bell wide open to just run into the end zone. Christopher Ruffin, the starting center, with the illegal block in the back.
And that's just a bad call. If it happened there, that cannot happen. A ball thrown all the way down the field, and your starting center gets called for a block in the back that takes points off the scoreboard.
Something Coach Reginald Ruffin cannot afford. By the way, he and Christopher, no relation there. To the junior center out of Bessemer, Alabama. Same hometown as the great Bo Jackson. Quick swing pass out to the near side, breaking a couple tackles over there and still running.
That's a late hit.
Very late out of bounds for 14 yards is William Kelly.
Let's take a look and see if this should have been called a penalty. I thought the hit came late out of bounds when he was lined up on the sideline, clearly going out of bounds. Steps out here, was running from the defender. They still hit him. I think Alabama State got away with a late hit.
Another flag on the play. And another offside penalty against Alabama State. Andre Wilson, that time jumping off. So certainly enough penalties we've had, and we haven't quite played 2 minutes yet in the ball game, but now Miles has it. 1st down and 5 on the 30-yard line.
We got this 4 wide receiver set, giving them trouble at the top of the screen, making a man-to-man situation down at the bottom if you want to take it.
And a quick wide receiver screen, not a lateral, however, was dropped that time on the other side by Kelly. William Kelly trying to run with that one before he had it, so that'll set up 2nd down and 5 after the 1st down penalty against Alabama State.
And this is where, like, schematically, what you do is you put your best wide receiver where you can get the one-on-one matchup. So offensive coordinator Maurice Flowers, with the 4 wide receiver look, you're getting the look you want right there on the 30-yard line. That's one-on-one press coverage. You want that situation. Put your best playmaker in a position to make a big play.
Again, David Whipple with the empty backfield. 4 receivers split out far side right.
We're gonna blitz him.
Here they come, going for it all. And a catch down near the end zone, touchdown. That is Trey Smith on a fantastic effort, leaping catch, and Miles College is up early.
I tell you, every now and then I know a little something about football. You get the one-on-one matchup by formation. They bring pressure. Put your playmaker, Trey Smith, at the bottom of your screen. One of those 50-50 jump ball situations. He does a great job of coming down with it to give Miles the early lead. Nice body control, looks it in. That's a nice catch.
Jaquez Bowser was there on the coverage, but just out-jumped that play by Trey Smith. came into the game with 25 catches for 283 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's number 3. And now Nick Christensen going for the extra point. That was a 30-yard touchdown catch. And Whipple 4-5 for 95 yards on the drive. The extra point is good. And Miles College, Division II, who? Well, they strike first. And Miles, the Golden Bears, leading it on the nice catch by Trey Smith. It's 7-0.
ESPNU College Football is presented by McDonald's. I'm loving it. And in part by Wrangler. Be comfortable in your own jeans.
Turkey Day Classic Parade, downtown Montgomery, Alabama this morning. Of course, this entire city, especially the downtown area, rocking for a couple of weeks with all the festivities and activities leading up to the 93rd edition of the Turkey Day Classic. That was Trey Smith after an outstanding catch in the near corner of the end zone. 6 plays, 94 yards on that completed drive, and 223 for Coach Ruffin. And now Nick Christensen will be kicking off. To Alabama State, kick fielded at the 3. And that was Marquell Beckwith on the return. Got it out across the 20-yard line to about the 23, where Alabama State will take over. And tell you what, there's some more pushing and shoving going on after play. When you got 2 teams, no matter what divisions or what conferences or what levels, playing this close to each other, there's going to be some extracurricular stuff. A lot of these kids know each other.
Quintarius Toppings, the senior quarterback from 8 Mile, Alabama, not 8 Mile Detroit, but 8 Mile Alabama, 56% passer. And you know what? When they talk about Toppings, the thing that has been disappointing with the wins and losses, of course, but his dedication to the game. Coach Jenkins said he has the utmost respect for Toppings. Toppings hasn't been an easy ride having to deal with the coaching adjustments, but that's something to be said when your head coach says, I respect him for his dedication throughout the process.
Coach Jenkins also said both quarterbacks were very bad in practice on Monday, so he was a bit emotional when he talked to us and not really impressive. Another flag is on the play as this is Khalid Thomas, second leading rusher in the conference, that came off the right side.
Holding on the offense, 71, 10 yards, replay, first down.
Big Shaq Powell playing right guard, getting the start because Sam Jenkins is out with injury. You see him just do the horse collar takedown. We'll call that every time.
Now, Alabama State's offensive line outweighs their opponents by an average of about 60 pounds a man. Let's see how they can establish that run game, which they'll try to do with that size advantage. Here's the jet sweep. And it's Austin Bemis. Bemis getting around the corner for 6 yards before he goes out of bounds.
You know, and one thing I like to play is Austin Stevens, a linebacker, freshman for Miles College. A lot of speed, number 47. Watch him shoot the gap and detour the route of the jet sweep. Number 47 will come in right side of your screen, recognizes it, shoots it, doesn't make the tackle, but does enough to disrupt the runner from getting to the edge quicker. That's a good play from the young freshman from Mumford, Alabama.
Now we have a timeout on the field taken by the Golden Bears of Miles, their first of the game. And again, we talked to Coach Ruffin. We talked to both these coaches. Coach Jenkins saying, hey, they may be smaller, but that never stopped anybody before. It never stopped me with any of my teams. I don't expect it to stop them. And, of course, Coach Ruffin saying, hey, we know we're smaller. We know we're everything, but we hit the weight room hard. We're strong. We're quick. We're nasty. And our motor never stops running.
You know, they remind me, I had a college roommate who was very small, 5'5", and he would always get into an argument with the biggest guy. And I said, why is it that you're fighting the big 6'5", 6'6" guy? He said, Jay, when you're only 5'5", everybody's big. So if you're 5'8", if you're 5'11", they're all bigger than him. So I think the case of Miles, they're used to every team being bigger than them. They just learn how to deal with it, and they can perform well.
Quintarius Toppings on 2nd and 14, working out of the shotgun. Throwing near side, whips it out to his receiver, will get across the 35 before he's brought out of bounds. That's Austin Bemis once again for a pickup of 3. He was brought down by Malik Slade, one of the backup linebackers.
And that's a good throw from QT, from Toppin. You know, before, early in his career, he would have taken off and run with it or tried to force a ball downfield, but he had time in the pocket. Take what the defense gives you on second down to make it 3rd and short.
As Thomas spins off a tackle, he'll be a bit short.
That's a big
first down. That's a very big stop as he picks up only 1. And let's see what Coach Jenkins will do here. It'll be a 4th. Yeah, it'll be a 4th and a good 2 yards. And I think he's going to send the punt team out.
Yeah, the offense wanted to go for it, but you have to say as an offense, you didn't get the job done on 3rd down. I'm not going to make an emotional decision. Punt the ball away, and a big stop early by Miles, giving the offense an opportunity to get the ball back with the lead and a chance to increase this lead.
Trevor Vincent will be punting it deep to Cedric Poole and Devin Brown. Low end over end kick. And it is fielded at the 17-yard line. Coming out of bounds to the near side of the field is Cedric Poole. On the first drive for the Miles offense, a few penalties were in there, but they were pretty efficient.
The David Whipple show, good job throwing the football down the field. The offensive line gave him time. The wide receivers, which is the best unit on this team, made some big plays. And they were able to drive the ball down the field with relative ease. And then, of course, the 50-50 jump ball caught by Trey Smith to put the first points to the board.
Whipple 4 for 5 to 4 different receivers on that opening drive. And down with an injury was Dominique Jackson for a while, but he's walking off a little bit under his own power. He seems to be favoring the right shoulder arm a little bit. Leaned in with that right shoulder to make the tackle and bounced off of Cedric Poole. You ever have one of those stingers that they call them?
Oh, if you play football, you're going to get it.
Okay. I hear it's not a very pleasant experience.
No, it's not. You know, it goes numb, you get a little vibration, tingling sensation. But the good thing is, over time, it heals up.
For both bands, please refrain from playing. Thank you.
And even on Turkey Day, they don't want the bands playing up through the snap count. Let's see what David Whipple and company can do on the Golden Bears' second possession. Again, they go empty backfield. This time, Whipple quarterback draw. Plenty of room up the gut, and he gets it out across the 30-yard line to the 34. Nice design play there.
And what I like is they continue to go with the formation that's given Alabama State trouble. 5 wide receivers, empty backfield, at 0 personnel. Call the quarterback number, and 2 Hornet defenders down. Might have been friendly fire.
Darren Johnson, freshman linebacker, is one of them. And trainers down there attending to both young men. Here's here that one of them is sitting up under his own power for now. Understand there was a big collision between 4 players down there, and of course these 2 gentlemen got the worst of it. And Darren Johnson, the freshman from Memphis, Tennessee, had an outstanding freshman season, taking a lot of mentoring from the All-America Courtney Berry, the guy who's manned the middle for so long, and Ishmael Arisman, the other. Oh, wow. A lot of black shirts coming together at the same time.
In different directions.
And from different directions, and a couple of helmets meet there. And
yeah, that was Trayon Garnett came in there and kind of earshotted his own player.
Might have some concussion protocol stuff going on the sidelines with some of the helmet shots we saw with that big collision there. Fortunately, they all walk off the field. 1st and 10 after the Whipple first down run. And again, that empty backfield, and if it's working, you keep using it until they prove they can stop it.
Alabama State's made a change at the cornerback position at the bottom. Dennis Roberts now lined up one-on-one with Smith.
Whipple in trouble, gets rid of it, and coming back to make the catch is his receiver, Ernest Bell. It looked like that was heading to some black shirts until Bell makes a nice play on it, comes back and makes the catch.
Great job by Ernest Bell, because this would have been an interception for possibly a touchdown. Coming back to help his quarterback. Ill-advised pass from David Whipple, but Ernest Bell bailed him out with a great catch.
Picked up 3 on that play. Play clock winding down. Got to get it off, and they do, and the flags are down. And very late, a 3rd one comes in back at the 27. The first 2 flags we saw almost simultaneously, but that 3rd one came in 5 or 6 seconds later, so maybe something in addition to the original infraction happened.
Illegal snap infraction, number 65 of Miles. That's 5 yards. After the play, personal foul, number 6 of Alabama State University. That will result in a 1st and 10 for Miles.
So,
let's take a look and see what happens. The quarterback is, oh, they went and shoved the quarterback. Quarterback, no ill intent with that pass. And there, Bradley Street, second man always gets caught. Perfect example right there. And you cost your team a down, and now they get 1st down for Miles.
So they found something that they think can work against this Alabama State defense, the empty backfield, and they use it again with 3 wide receivers split near side left of quarterback David Whipple. Whipple looking far side. Now he's going to keep it and run out of some time there. It'll be ruled a sack as he'll lose a couple of yards. Lost his footing as he was just about to take off. So he lost 2 yards on the play. And again, that'll officially be ruled a sack for Alabama State.
And we're starting to see the defensive line start to make an impact in this game. That was a big question. Could Miles protect their quarterback? And they're really starting to shrink the running lanes. And Whipple's starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable in the pocket. Maybe the pressure's getting to him.
Ricky Haley was the first one to get to him and bring him down on that sack. His 2nd of the season, so it'll be 2nd and 12. Whipple looking far side, has his man underneath, and 1st down yardage and then some inside the 40, and still fighting for yards down to the 35-yard line. A pickup of 20 on that play, and Ernest Bell is saying, feed me the ball, give me the rock, because I'm open.
Yeah, poor coverage. Look at the top of your screen on the left side. They're just dropping the whole time. Bell's just going to run a simple curl route. Comes back to the ball, and they just dropping. You can't give that much cushion to a wide receiver in today's college football landscape.
And they went with a little bit of
5 yards, remain 1st down.
Went with a little bit of a hurry up that time. And moved a little bit too quickly, so a false start on the offense takes 5 away. It'll be 1st and 15 for Coach Reginald Ruffin and his Golden Bears offense, which has not had much difficulty moving the football down the field against Alabama State in their first 2 possessions. Quick wide receiver hitter on the near side, and he finds his man Devin Brown, and Brown goes for 4 yards before he's brought down by Torrey Davis.
And this quick strike offensive attack is starting to frustrate defensive coordinator Ted Dasher from Alabama State. Consecutive plays, they brought the blitz, bringing Courtney Berry from his middle linebacker position, trying to make Whipple get uncomfortable. If you don't get to the quarterback and the quarterback can get rid of the ball before you get there, bad things happen to defenses.
Whipple on the design quarterback draw, still on his feet, spins down to the 25-yard line, and that'll be very close to first down yardage before Courtney Berry brought him down. I think they're going to move the chains. Another first down for Miles College.
This is just a good job by David Whipple, along with the left side of the offensive line on the quarterback draw. Huge running lane, while Whipple was able to pick up the first down.
Whipple picked up 12 that time. Sniffing the red zone are the Golden Bears of Miles College.
They get ready to bring pressure again. Safety out of the middle of the field, nobody deep. Look for Courtney Berry to apply some type of blitz again.
And they come, and Whipple gets rid of it, throws it underneath on the crossing route to his wide receiver, Trey Smith. Smith is wide open, gets down to the 11-yard line after a 14-yard gain. Kenyon Davis brought him down, but Miles making this look pretty easy.
Well, they know the blitz is coming. They've got the number of Alabama State right now. Their defense, they're in their head. And so they're giving them these crazy formations, and anytime they anticipate blitz, they're getting rid of the football quickly, forcing Alabama State to make open field tackles, and the Hornets haven't done a good job.
Now the offense hurrying it up, getting back to the line of scrimmage, looking very much like they were going with a no huddle. Going end zone, touchdown! Trey Smith once again. It was Devin Brown on the reception for the touchdown. 11 yards on that play, as again they throw it up in the air in the near corner of the end zone, and pretty much unchallenged.
Yeah, if you're going to keep blitzing, if you don't get to the quarterback and the receiver makes a catch, it's going to be a big play. It's too much man-to-man coverage, and the strength of this team is the wide receiver core. So why blitz and allow the best unit for Miles to beat you? Great job by Miles to sticking to the game plan and getting the ball to their playmakers.
Kenyon Davis was on the coverage of Devin Brown, number 8. Looking very similar to his teammate 88, who made that first touchdown catch in the near corner. And now we're going to have another flag on the play as 5:44 remains in the first, and Miles
False start on the offense. Number 56, 5 yards, try.
A false start, so that'll make the extra point try a little bit longer for Nick Christensen. But Miles College looking solid with the spread offense, using 5 wide receivers to march the ball right up and down the field against the bigger Alabama State front. And the extra point by Christensen is good. That completes an 8-play, 77-yard drive. Whipple a perfect 5 for 5 on that drive for 52 yards and a touchdown. Dennis Ruffin's team is up by 14.
It's Laser X. It's the ultimate high-tech game of tag. Select team red, blue, or go rogue. You'll get pinpoint accuracy up to 200 feet. The best counts your hits, and the blaster tells you when to reload. And the interactive voice coach keeps you focused on the game.
Happy Thanksgiving, the Turkey Day Classic. 5:44 to go in the first quarter, and Miles College out of the SIAC leading, scoring touchdowns on their first 2 possessions. It is 14-0, and David Whipple looks like many of the great Davids we've seen play in football history, only missing on 1 pass. And this is Marquel Beckwith taking the kickoff, and he'll be a little bit short of the 20-yard line on the return. And how big is this drive now coming up for Alabama State? Is this a must score?
Yeah, I think so, because the defense hasn't shown they're going to be able to stop Miles yet. They haven't figured it out. Now all of a sudden doubt starts to creep into your mind. Hey, what are we doing? We're getting in the trail position, and this is a familiar territory for Alabama State fans. protecting their home turf on Thanksgiving Day is not proven to be an easy task, and they're off to a very sluggish start.
Quinteris Toppings, number 12, still in at quarterback. And a give to Khalid Thomas, and Thomas explodes through the hole for 5 before he's brought down at the 23-yard line. And brought down by Austin Stevens, freshman linebacker out of Munford, Alabama. And on second down, and there's Thomas bursting up the middle. Lots of room. Will they catch him? They do, as he is brought down from behind by Caleb Duncan after a big pickup right up the middle, 45 yards, and nobody touched him till the very end.
Yeah, great job of a wash down block by Shaq Powell, the guard. Nobody in the middle of the field, and Caleb Duncan turned on the Jets to track down Thomas.
Wide receiver hitter out to the near side, Palmer Graham. It's another freshman from Schaumburg, Illinois. Cedric Poole brought him down after a 5-yard gain. So it looks like they feel a little bit of urgency, do the Hornets of Alabama State, on their third possession of the game.
And sometimes I just like to oversimplify things. Your running back breaks a big run. You get a great block by Shaq Powell. Then you come out the next play and you throw the football. Establish you're going to run the football. Wear down the small defense. Give the ball to Lee Thomas.
Another throw, same play, near side. Palmer Graham once again still struggling to keep his feet. He gets first down yardage down to the 20-yard line. Picked up 7 on that play.
The biggest defensive lineman for Miles is 255 pounds, and he plays nose tackle. That's small. That's a defensive end at larger colleges. And you've got a huge offensive line, but you don't wear them down by throwing bubble screens. You have to run straight ahead at them to wear them out.
And a quarterback keeper, Toppings, picks up good yardage off the right side, dives down to the 12-yard line, picked up 8 before he was brought down by Malik Slade.
Toppings called his own number on the zone read, but had he given the ball to Khalid Thomas, I think he would have scored. The offensive line for Alabama State is really starting to open up huge holes in this Miles defense.
Same play again, bubble screen near side, and that one goes to Palmer Graham, the freshman, his third catch on this drive, and he gets it inside the 10 to the 8-yard line, pick up a 4, and Caleb Duncan pushed him out of bounds. So it's first and goal from the 8. Malik Thomas, and Thomas hit hard and driven back at about the 6-yard line after picking up 3. Slade once again on the tackle from that linebacker spot.
But that's what you have to do. You have to continue to move forward ahead, particularly once you get down in a goal line situation. I don't think you beat this defense running sideline to sideline. You're going to have to use some muscle force and bully your way into the end zone.
Khalid Thomas trying to get the corner, does get the corner, and does get the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama State.
Khalid Thomas has been their best offensive weapon all season long. On senior day, you're going to see him get to the edge. Great vision. Knows how to get to the pylon, and a fantastic block by Austin Bemis from the wide receiver position to seal the edge.
Now for the extra point, they go for 2. Very odd formation, throwing in the end zone and incomplete. So something a little different as he looks for Brandon Barnes. 8-play, 82-yard drive. Thomas completes it with a 5-yard touchdown right at you. Turkey Day is getting good. 14-6. Favor Miles.
Now is the time on Sprockets when we dance.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Turkey Day Classic. Alabama State trailing Miles College by 8, and the tailgating around here off the chain.
That's the wrong type of bird, though.
Well,
Thanksgiving.
Well,
any bird, man.
Any bird counts. Any bird counts when it looks like that and tastes that good. I'm following my partner around before the game. We could have eaten 73 pounds of food each because everybody's offering their plates. Southern hospitality at its finest down here. And it was just unbelievable. The smells.
Did you like that bacon wrap filet mignon sandwich?
Bacon wrap filet mignon. Are you kidding me? Anyway, let's get back to football. And a flag down after a violent collision down at about the 14-yard line. There is a flag on the play. And we'll see what they sort out here before Miles takes possession.
Illegal. Blocking the back. Number 53 of the return team. Half the distance. 1st and 10.
Yeah, that's easy to call.
Yeah, and then not only does he commit the penalty, but he runs into his own guy, Tyree Leonard. And Miles College, for those of you watching, might not know a whole lot about him. Golden Bears, the school was founded back in 1898, enrollment of just under 2,000. Hey, amongst their famous alumni, Richard Arrington, the first African-American mayor of Birmingham, Alabama, went to Miles.
I think it's important to note people may not know where Fairfield, Alabama is, which is in Birmingham.
Yeah, six miles, what was it, west of Birmingham, I think it was. On 1st down, handoff coming to the near side, and a good hole and good yardage for the little scatback, Ja'Carry Jackson. He picks up 7 on 1st down, so it'll be 2nd and very manageable for this Miles offense. Ishmael Arisman, who left with an injury earlier, was there on the tackle, so good to see him back in the game. Alabama State has done little to show that their defense is going to offer some resistance against this Golden Bears offense here in this 1st half. And they shut it down that time. Jackson on the carry could not find any room. He'll go down and lose 5 yards on that run.
I think that Alabama State has figured out when it's a run, they're going to run to the edges. So as we talked to the coaches beforehand, Miles said we're not going to waste our time trying to run up the middle. We're going to run on the edge. And I think Alabama State has made the adjustment to those off-tackle runs being made by Miles.
Key 3rd down here for the Alabama State defense.
I wouldn't blitz him. In this case, don't get blitz happy. Sit back, play some zone, and allow your defensive line to apply the pressure on the quarterback.
Play clock inside of 5. They get it off in time. Whipple under pressure throws and has his man on the far side. And oh my goodness, Devin Brown almost kept his balance, and he had a bunch of sideline in front of him if he had been able to. 22 yards, however, on the completion.
This is too much aggressiveness. Why blitz? Let the defensive line get there. You're going to see the linebackers are going to come off the edge trying to get to the quarterback. It's man-to-man coverage again. Missed tackle. Could have been a touchdown. They were fortunate. I think they're just being too aggressive defensively with all the heavy blitzing they're doing. On 3rd and long, you have to allow your D-line to do the work and your secondary to cover. I can't blame the players for that. You're going to get burned if you keep playing that much man-to-man coverage.
Robert Easterwood, the guy who was very fortunate that Devin Brown did not keep his footing, and he'd still be running right now. 1st down, Whipple fired that one, and that is incomplete as the guy in the target area was Trey Smith.
They are putting a tremendous amount of stress on their secondary defenders if you're Alabama State. Every defensive back is playing. Dennis Roberts moving in the cornerback. He's a backup because they're going 5 wide. Look at all this. That's straight man-to-man coverage. As a quarterback, when I see this look, when I break the huddle, I look for my best wide receiver and go after it.
So this is easy pickings for you if you're a quarterback. Your eyes are all big and you're just ready to sling it.
You can get a big play on this.
All right, David Whipple looking far side, going downfield, and overshot his man just a little bit as once again he was looking for Devin Brown.
And you know, well, what else happens? Wide receivers, they get excited because they think all I have to do is beat my man and I can hit him for a bomb or a big play. So this is one of those games offensively you like to play in if you're Miles.
Devin Brown was covered by the best cover man for Alabama State, Ronnie Scott, on that last incompletion.
4 wide receiver look. They know they're going to get the one-on-one matchup at the top of the screen. That's that Trey Smith matchup earlier. I'd go back to it.
Whipple under heavy pressure, steps up. Now he goes down as they get a big sack. -2 on that sack is Andre Wilson, the 5'11" junior from Savannah, Georgia, comes in and gets the sack.
Yeah, now you have to realize if they're going to blitz, you have to either get rid of that football or throw it out of bounds, but you cannot take the sacks. There's no place to run. And that's one of the few poor decisions we've seen David Whipple make in this ball game.
Nick Christensen going to punt it away to the deep man, Khalid Thomas, standing at his 30. And Thomas signaling fair catch at the 35. It is a 37-yard punt with no return. So Alabama State eventually gets the stop it wants on defense. And now let's see if the offense can continue that trend of getting that ball right downfield and controlling it with the bigger offensive line in the run game.
And use your best football player. And all season long, that's been Khalid Thomas. So I would continue to give the ball to the senior from Tallahassee, Florida, here making his final start for the Hornets. You saw him with the huge run on that last drive. The offensive line started to insert their will. They were able to get the big holes for the quarterbacks. And then, of course, Thomas capped it off with a touchdown run. They made it look easy on the ground.
And on the quarterback keeper, QT, Quinteris Toppings, is stopped for no gain on the design quarterback run. So it'll be 2nd and 10. Marquell Beckwith in for Thomas right now at the running back spot. And now we've got whistles down on the field. And we've got a break in the action because we're at the end of the first quarter. Turkey Day Classic. It started with some offensive fireworks. Miles College from Division II SIAC leading by 8 after 1. Just about to get underway in the second quarter of the 93rd Turkey Day Classic. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Along with Jay Walker, I am Eric Clemens, and Alabama State has been involved in each and every one of these contests, and nation's oldest classic. A little bit about that university. Just under 6,000 students, founded way back in 1867. I got a little quiz for you, partner, and some of the alumni. If I say Clarence Strokin Carter, do you know who that is?
Clarence Strokin Carter.
He's a recording artist, and he made a record that was played at a lot of our grandmother's barbecues. I be stroking.
Okay.
Old school had to pull something out on you there. Just a little bit. Toppings under some heat, dumps it off, and he has his back, Marquell Beckwith. And Beckwith gained 5 out to the 40-yard line. Andreas Warthen brought him down. There is a flag on the play, as we've had a little extracurricular stuff after every other play in this game between these two nearby opponents.
Play, personal foul, 2 of the defense, 15 yards, automatic, first down.
Andreas Warthen.
And a big hit at the end of the play. And gets up. Oh. Maybe he said something.
Maybe so. But he certainly took a swipe at the ball a little bit to try to knock it away, but I don't know how unsportsmanlike that is. But they call it, so we get 15 yards tacked on to the end of the run, and this is Beckwith once again off the right side for 3 before he's brought down inside the 45-yard line to about the 42. And we have an official's timeout on the field because of an injury. And Kerry Williams, the starting center, the 6'2", 295-pound senior out of Gaffney, South Carolina, coming out favoring the right lower leg or ankle area. Carl Thompson is going to come in to replace him at the center spot.
And that's one of the stories when you talk about the up and down season for Alabama State. 3 offensive linemen, starting linemen out on the season, and you see just there at the end, kind of gets thrown to the ground and might have twisted his knee a little bit. But imagine that. 3 offensive starting linemen out. And now you got your starting center going out of the game. That's why Alabama State has been so up and down this 2016 campaign.
As Coach Jenkins has used multiple offensive line combinations this season, and he told us earlier this week when we spoke that it's never been quite like this. As Shaq Powell moving before the snap there, false start. So it's never been like this.
Yep, I mean, you talk about Shaq Powell starting today because of the injury to Sam Jenkins at that right guard position. So the offensive line injury woes continue for the Hornets.
Topping's little wide receiver screen, and it's off the hands of the intended target, Austin Bemis, and incomplete. That'll set up 3rd down and 12. First incompletion. He is 6 or 7 now as Quinteris Toppings.
And why does I see the safeties playing for Miles College? This would be a great time to run a draw, but I see Khalid Thomas coming to the sideline. But when you see the safeties for Miles, they are really just making themselves vulnerable to the middle of the field for a huge gaping run.
And now Alabama State going with the empty backfield on 3rd and 12. Toppings far side has a man diving, but very short of the first down. Is his receiver, only a 5-yard gain.
Normally when you call a play design to have your quarterback throw short like that, it may be 4th down territory. You may go for it on 4th down. Instead, Jenkins thought about it, but elects to punt right now.
So they'll punt it away. David Albert. I'm sorry, Trevor Vincent. David Albert, your field goal kicker. Trevor Vincent, your punter. Punted back to Devin Brown and Cedric Poole, who are back deep to receive. And now there's a flag on the play as the play clock runs out. So they're going to take the delay.
Delay of game. Kicking team, number 35. 5 yards. Remain 4th down.
Trevor Vincent going to have a little more angle to work with if he indeed tries to angle this one out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. For his head coach Brian Jenkins. Straight line drive punt. And fielded on this side, and a good return coming onto the near side of the field by Cedric Poole, and Poole gets it out. They'll mark him at about the 36-yard line. 30-yard punt, 19-yard return. I'm sure that's not what they wanted, that low line drive punt. Miles College will take over when we come back.
Sorry, Dad.
Sure, you could get him a new car. You could also light a pile of money on fire.
Sorry.
Because as long as Mr. It wasn't my fault takes the wheel on occasion, maintaining this car is your best option.
Time now for the AT&T Inside Access. Let's take a look at the sights and sounds of the 93rd Annual Turkey Day Classic, and that's what it's all about.
Oh, man, sauce. They got this stuff down here called Conecuh sausage, which is awesome. There you go. Put some turkeys on the grill.
And, of course, everybody who is anybody, even frying fish out here. One of our friends that we met earlier had some of that. The ribs going, of course.
My man Rolf Barber and all the fellas out there tailgating. Appreciate them taking care of us. But your first time at the facility, what do you think about this stadium? Is this
is outstanding. This is better than advertised. It is an outstanding facility, a great place to watch a college football game, and they've accommodated everyone. Us here in the media, plenty of room to work here in the media box. The business partners with nice suites, great design, open air, a lot of areas where they can watch the game in comfort outdoors if they don't want to stay indoors.
And you know, my favorite part about the stadium is, see, I'm a football guy. I like the kids playing football in the end zone. So you got a game going on, and then you're on the hill, and at the bottom of your screen is a football game going on right there. The kids there, they're playing whoever's got the ball gets tackled. And I was here the day they opened up this stadium. Unfortunately, they lost to Tuskegee, but it was one of the more joyous days in all of HBCU football when they opened up this top-of-the-line stadium here in Montgomery.
Tommy Neely, 6'2", 185-pound sophomore out of Birmingham, is in the game at quarterback, and we get a little movement. A false start against the Miles offensive line, which drew Alabama State
Remain second down.
So now it'll be second down and 15, and they're Neely's numbers on the year. 4 of 9 for 96 yards. And he too playing with the empty backfield and the quick wide receiver bubble screen, and getting some room out to turn the corner on the far side is William Kelly once again, number 16, and he picks up pretty good yardage, 7 yards on the gain out to the 39-yard line. So it'll be a big 3rd and 8 now for this Alabama State defense. And again, the empty backfield. Have not heard of any injury situation involving David Whipple. This just might be a change of pace for head coach Reginald Ruffin at the quarterback spot. And here's Neely. Quick slant, and what a stretching catch by the target, Trey Smith, who has already had a huge afternoon, 15 yards on that gain, and he used every inch of his body to come down with that one.
The middle field's open. And, you know, it's like they used to say, Mama used to always say, one day you're going to learn. You keep on blitzing this team, and you're going to learn. They've shown they can throw the football and hurt you and take one-on-one matchups. They're going for it again.
Neely going for it on the far side. Again, his target was Trey Smith. Overshot that one a little bit, incomplete.
And when you get in a game like this, you know what you say? As a quarterback, you go and you say, you know what, my completion percentage, I'm not going to throw 65, 70%. I'm going to go 12 of 30, but I'm going to hit you for 350 yards and 5 touchdowns because I'm going for home run balls. I'm not looking for bubble screens. Man-to-man coverage, attack.
Neely getting the final signal from his sideline, the offensive coordinator, Maurice Flowers, also the quarterback's coach at Miles. And here's Neely looking again deep down the far side and overshot that one as his target, Rodarius Houston, appeared to have a step or two.
That's the offensive coordinator, Maurice Flowers, put a little air under the ball, let him run underneath it. They're getting clean releases on the line of scrimmage. Come on, quarterback. You got to pitch and catch. That's fundamental fade route versus man-to-man coverage. Give your receiver an opportunity to make the play. You don't overthrow him on consecutive throws.
Dennis Roberts, the sophomore from Miami, 6'1", 200 pounds, is on that island by himself against that lone receiver out on the left side of the field. And now Coach Ruffin not happy about something. He has to take a timeout.
I believe it might have been an illegal substitution for Alabama State, which had him upset. They were trying to snap the ball because Alabama State had too many guys on the field, and the official stood over the ball and wouldn't let him snap it. Take a look at, they're going to come around, get set, and you're going to see a last-minute change substitution-wise. And Alabama State is getting guys off the field. He wants to snap the ball, and the referee right here in the middle of the screen, he's not releasing them to play. It comes back in there. You see, they gave him time. That's way too much time to allow defenses to substitute. So Reginald Ruffin has a right to be upset.
And he still looks upset. Of course, he is an intense coach, and he knows exactly what he can expect out of his team. He knows they're going to give him every bit of effort that they have.
Should be upset at Tom Neely missing those 2 consecutive fade patterns with wide receivers open on touchdown type plays.
He probably is that too. This will be a big 3rd down and 10.
They've got numbers on the bottom of the screen. 3 wide receivers, only 1 defender.
Neely stepping up and still on his feet, slides down short of the first down as he slides down just as he got to the 40-yard line.
If he dives, he picks up the first down. That's where the backup quarterback comes in and doesn't take a peek over at the sideline to see where the first down marker is.
And they're going to go for it after that 8-yard pickup, so it'll be 4th and 2.
I think they're just going to try and draw them off sides. Very aggressive if they elect to go for it here in this situation.
Are going to go coming on the blitz, and Neely had to get rid of it quick. Courtney Berry was coming in. He had moved from the Mike linebacker spot off to the edge and applied the heat, and Neely had to get rid of that one in a hurry, and it's a defensive stop for Alabama State as the Hornets are going to take over, trailing by 8. Second quarter continuing in the Turkey Day Classic. We'll be back.
There's no one else in the world like you. So I wanted you to have the ring to match.
At Jared, we only sell one piece of jewelry. The engagement ring of her dreams you had designed just for her. In fact, with custom design services in every Jared, anything you can imagine, our expert jewelers can create. Something completely original. Completely unique. Completely her. Custom design. That's why he went to Jared.
I don't dream, I do. I don't wait, I do. I don't hope, I do. I got the wheel. I do how I want.
The new 2017 Toyota Corolla with Toyota Safety Sense. Standard Toyota. Let's go places.
Hornet Stadium here in Montgomery, Alabama. Alabama State about to take possession, trailing by 8 against Miles College. We talked about quarterback David Whipple earlier. We do not see him on the sidelines, and this is his last play. We understand he's been taken into the locker room for some evaluation.
Yeah, on the prior series, he tried to run the football and didn't look like anything major, but they did take him to the locker room to make sure he's okay. That could be a huge turning point in this game, because I have to say, I think if Whipple's in the game, he completes those deep passes that we saw Tommy Neely, the backup, come in and miss.
Quinteris Toppings got the start here on senior day, and he is continued here in the first half at quarterback. And this is Khalid Thomas, bounces outside, has some room, gets the corner. Great block downfield. Now he tries to cut it back and is finally taken down inside the 20-yard line. A touchdown save and tackle after a 40-yard gallop.
Simplify it. Give the ball to your best football player and allow him to make a football play. Great job with vision, getting to the outside. And I like this. Cut back. Don't look to the sideline and step out. Pick up every inch of yardage you can on the big run.
Thomas again spun down as he takes it up the middle. And big number 44, Josephus Smith, spins him down after a pickup of 3.
The touchdown saving tackle by Smith. But what you're starting to see is the offensive line, which we knew would be a factor in this game, is starting to gain some rhythm, controlling the line of scrimmage versus the undersized defensive line for Miles College.
Again, that starting offensive line outweighs the defensive line by an average of about 60 pounds a man. Khalid Thomas already.
Elements that he has. The first one becomes, do I hand the ball off to the running back? Right there it says, no, I'm going to call my own number. Oh, they bottle me up. I've got a third option, wide receiver on the outside waiting to make a catch in Palmer Graham. That's a good job of playing that quarterback position by Toppins.
Cedric Poole came up from his defensive back spot and laid a nice hit on the freshman Palmer Graham, who had to limp to the sideline a little bit. We do have a flag down on the field as we are about to ready to set up 1st and goal. Sorry, we're not going to be. Well, we'll see how they sort it all out. The flag is down at about the 16.
Foul on the play for an illegal forward pass. The play stands.
Well, yeah, so you wonder, whoever threw the flag for illegal forward pass, then review it if you think that's the case there. Instead, long delay in the ball game, but they pick up the flag. But as long as they got it right, I'm okay. But I can understand why they would think that, because it's a lot going on. But it's a good play. I mean, they designed it that way.
All right, so we are setting up the 1st and goal. Ball now at the 8. Toppings, corner of the end zone, and incomplete, but we have a flag down. On the coverage back there was Andreas Worthen. And the intended receiver was Austin Bemis on the far side, but we get a flag in the end zone.
Defensive pass interference, number 2, in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line, 1st and goal.
Andreas Worthen said, what did I do? Let's take a look.
He thought he made a good play. Well, he's got that arm in a lot. He prevented the right arm coming. Very physical there. Football play, they have to call that.
A lot of contact. So repeat your 1st down and goal. Ball placed now at the 3. Thomas met hard. Got nothing. And again, Josephus Smith, the big defensive tackle, in there to lay the helmet on the runner and push him backwards for a loss of 1.
Alabama State going to a 2 tight end set. They're bringing more bodies closer to the box. They had their best success when they would go with a 4 wide receiver set, opening up wider running lanes for Khalid Thomas. So when you bring in these guys to tight end, these little H-back position, you allow Miles to load the box with him.
Lee Thomas up the middle, getting close. Will he be pushed in by his teammates? We'll see when they unpile the bodies. He'll be very close to the goal line, but I don't think they'll rule it a touchdown. He'll be about 6 inches short of Peter, who's willing to set up a big 3rd and goal.
They've got plenty of numbers around, and you'll see they do a good job of keeping them out of the end zone.
And here's Quinteros Toppings calling his own number, and he goes in for the touchdown. So now the Hornets of Alabama State score the next 12 points after falling behind 14-0. And let's see if they'll go for a 2-point conversion once again. They failed on their first score.
Yeah, I think you have to. After you go for it early on and you don't get it, you're chasing that 2-point conversion for the rest of the day until you do. Toppings, I thought he got in the end zone pretty easily, calling his own numbers for the score.
And once again, Kerry Williams, the starting center, being helped off the field, limping off.
And when we say you have to go for 2, what does Brian Jenkins do? Oh, we're going to kick it. We'll continue to trail in this ball game by 1. What's the difference in being down 1 point or 2 points? I'd go for 2 in this situation, try and tie it up.
And it didn't work anyway, although we have a flag down as David Albert.
Now, I want to see what this is. Albert went down on the ground, but if you tip the ball, then you can hit the kicker.
The officials are getting together to meet about it right now. It certainly looked like that kick didn't get across the line of scrimmage unscathed.
On the kick, number 58 of the defense, off the kicker. Half the distance to the goal, replay, try.
Well, then I don't understand this. Let's see. That's a block kick. I thought clearly from our angle up here, we thought he hit the ball. This may be our best look here. Yeah, that ball was hit. That was blocked.
I think he just shanked it.
I thought it was blocked. You see the way the ball started going sideways after the deflection? It started spinning sideways. Well, Alabama State's going to get an opportunity to go for 2 now, which I thought they should have done in the first place.
Now they're roughing the kicker against McKenzie. Here's the jet sweep. And I think they stop him short. Palmer Graham came around on the jet sweep And maybe you wish he had a little more than 5'9", 165 pounds on that when he couldn't quite break the plane. So Alabama State, although they score, they're still trailing by 2. Back in Montgomery, Alabama, Miles College will have to get the job done without that guy, David Whipple. Their starting quarterback was outstanding all game long. And one more look at his last play. Obviously suffered a right shoulder injury, landing hard on the tackle.
He was having a fantastic football game. I mean, throwing the ball, he was picking apart the Alabama State defense. And sorry to see that young man have his collegiate career in the first quarter of the Turkey Day Classic.
2 TD passes, 10 of 13 for 169, and now they're going to have to do it with Tommy Neely. Regular backup LaJohn Cordier is out injured in this game as well. So Neely, last quarterback they'll have. And this is Cedric Poole getting to the far side and going out of bounds.
Another flag coming in. You got to keep your head together. If you're Miles right now, number 13, Jarius Shade, that's his second, if I'm correct. That's the second late hit on him. Unsportsmanlike conduct. He may be ejected.
Personal foul of the return team, number 43. 15 yards. 1st and 10.
So let's take a look. I'm pretty sure now. I'm getting a little bit older. My eyes may be deceiving me, but towards the end of this play, you're going to see right there, I'll shove in the back. Yeah, that was 43. You're right. I blamed it on 13. I apologize, Jerry Shade. That was 43 with a cheap shot, pushing somebody in the back. Official caught him. Keep your head in the game. You're trying to pull off an upset. Your offense is down a quarterback. You can't afford to get 15-yard penalties on special teams.
That's Torrance Beard with the little extra shove there that cost his team 15 yards. And now, again, they're going to have to do it with sophomore Tommy Neely at quarterback, 6'2", 185. And on the little sweep play, Roderick Henderson is there to bring down Christian Mays, 5'7", 175-pound sophomore.
This dude weighs 352 pounds. I want you to see, coming from inside here, his defensive tackle position. Watch him hawk down the ball carrier. This is 352 pounds, and when they get their hands on you, it hurts. He's got a motor. You got NFL scouts starting to say, can he translate the next level down from 380 at 350, quick on his feet? He's a force on the inside.
He threw down the 175-pound Christian Mays like he was a piece of paper. Threw in the garbage can. And he slung him down for a loss of 2 on that play. Here's Neely in some trouble, gets it away, floats it. And he was under heavy pressure that time. Had to get rid of it, throws it out of bounds.
Ghost.
Ricky Haley was the one, and Ghost as well. They call him Roderick Henderson. No idea why a 350-plus pound man would be called
Look at
Ghost.
pressure up the middle. That's a bull rush. When you see your center on roller skates like that as a quarterback, you have to escape. And that's something that doesn't show up in the stat line, but Roderick Henderson caused that incomplete pass by forcing the quarterback to get rid of the ball and escape from the pocket.
Third down and 12, and you know, I don't know how much coach is going to scale back the game plan a little bit with the younger quarterback in there. Hasn't had much playing time or experience. We get a timeout on the field for Miles, and that's one of the things that a young quarterback's going to bring. Sometimes doesn't understand the play that's called and what he's supposed to do.
And I think more importantly, with the young quarterback coming in, they've lost offensive rhythm. This offense was in rhythm, in unison. They were passing the ball easily down the field. Now they seem to just be kind of running on flat tires right now.
All right, folks, check out The Undefeated for exclusive HBCU content. Click on the HBCU tab on theundefeated.com. And the story on the 55-year-old South Carolina State running back, Joe Thomas, and recaps of the Florida Classic and last week's North Carolina A&T North Carolina Central game. Central dominating that one from pretty much the start and shutting down Tariq Cohen.
Impressive performance.
Very impressive.
As the Eagles prepare to go to the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl And, you know, I like that story on Joe Thomas, 55-year-old running back. Here's how you know he's got some DNA. His son plays in the NFL.
Right.
So Joe Thomas Jr. is an NFL linebacker, and his dad is a college linebacker.
Running the ball. And I tell you what, they didn't let up on him either. He was smacked pretty hard on that 3-yard gain. But what a story that was, because I certainly wouldn't do it. Trey Smith on the receiving end of that pass and picks up 10. And so now it's going to set up another punting situation, 4th down. And Miles is going to have to turn over the football, and Alabama State will get it back with what should be good field position, unless we get a boomer off the leg of Nick Christensen.
Be careful. Khalid Thomas, very dangerous return man back for Alabama State.
Averaging almost 19 yards of punt return. He signals for a fair catch at his 42, and excellent field position. 37-yard punt, no return. Celebration Bowl already has one of the participants. We saw North Carolina Central earn that spot, and now they're going to face the SWAC champion, and of course we'll be there in Houston for the SWAC championship on December 3rd. Trophy also in the house here. We passed it on the way in. Compose pictures. There it is. Celebration Bowl. And what a trophy it is, and a lot of teams want a shot at that. And now we get another penalty.
False start, offense, 65. 5 yards, remains first down.
We have seen quite a few flags so far in the first half of this game.
They've been busy, and you know, the years I've covered this game, Alabama State always has this trend of letting you hang around, and they let the team hang around. Then in the 4th quarter, the team comes out and makes a great play to steal victory. So they should be dominating this game.
Toppings looking deep down the middle and threw it into double coverage. It is incomplete. As he looked for his intended receiver, I believe that was Nigel Lee deep downfield. Coach Jenkins calls him far and away their best receiver so far this year. Warthen and Cedric Poole back on double coverage.
How about this, Eric? This is what you have to be nervous for if you're Alabama State. Look at this graphic that I'm going to show you. It's going to surprise a lot of people if you follow Alabama State football.
Khalid Thomas off the right side picks up 7.
6-9 over the last 15 years. They've lost 9 Turkey Day Classics. So, and you wonder why. I've covered a number of those, and many of those games they were winning all the way up to the end. Now, obviously, they were taking on Tuskegee, very competitive Division II program. Wish them luck in this Division II playoffs, but they've lost 9 out of 15 Turkey Day Classics. That's got to be a disturbing factor. Right now, if you're at home, you're saying, Jay Walker, why'd you have to bring that up? and the one thing they don't like to mention, Tuskegee beat them when they opened up this stadium.
Back in 2012.
Game in this stadium played, Tuskegee won, and they don't let them forget it.
I tell you, poor Kerry Williams has tried to play through pain. We've seen him helped off the field on numerous occasions. After the 2-point effort, after Alabama State's touchdown on their last possession, he limped off. And now he's down on the field once again, being attended to by trainers, and they're going to try to get the big fella to his feet and help him off once more.
You see him there finishing through his block. And
he has been rolled up on a couple times in this game, and there's no defense for the offensive lineman in that particular situation. The guy's coming behind him.
And he's a senior, so you know he's going to make every effort he can to continue to play in this football game. Seen him go off the field once. At a certain point, you may have to say, Kerry, it's a tough one, but you've had a good career. You need to sit the rest of this game out.
And his night is indicative of the Alabama State season along the offensive line, about numerous injuries, numerous combinations having to be played by Coach Brian Jenkins. And again, he told us earlier this week, never in his coaching career has it been quite like this in terms of injuries along that offensive line. Came in with a very athletic, a veteran group that he thought he could move around parts and do a lot of good things with, and injuries have kind of derailed all that.
And what do you do when you've got a backup center come in? You change your stunts. You try and blitz him. See if he knows the protection, if he was ready to play. I would not give him a basic vanilla look. I'd bring some pressure and see if he knows his blitz pickup.
On 3rd and 8, Toppings has a man wide open. Palmer Graham, and Graham gets the corner. Graham still on the feet inside the 30 and finally brought down at the 21-yard line. Nice catch and run by the freshman out of Schaumburg, Illinois, 36 yards.
Nigel Lee's a freshman. Palmer Graham's a freshman. They're building something here in the wide receiver core at Alabama State. Great job running after the catch. And then watch his decision here to cut back inside, pick up more yards. I love it when wide receivers finish off the runs.
Well, bad snap that time, and Quinteris Toppings keeps it and is still on his feet after being spun around, so he'll lose more yardage, as it could have been disastrous that time. Instead, he'll lose about 6 yards on the play.
That's a play there where it shows up with the absence of Kerry Williams. The starting center, you bring in the backup center. Bad snap, disrupts the timing on the running play. Loss of yards on 1st down.
Second down and long. Toppings now throwing underneath the screen, coming to the receiver across the middle, and this time he hits his man Austin Bemis, and Bemis has been pretty active so far in this game. The junior out of Columbia, South Carolina, picks up 11. Cedric Poole brought him down, so big 3rd down here.
Yeah, they were very fortunate. I thought that ball might have been caught beyond the line of scrimmage, and if so, clearly Alabama State had offensive linemen downfield. Underneath route, and the throw kind of led the receiver. Let's see if he caught this ball behind the line of scrimmage. He's coming there. That's close. So we see it here better with the look. He's coming down the line of scrimmage. Give it to him. Those linemen were clearly 6-7 yards downfield.
Very close on that one. So 3rd and 5. Inside the red zone. Here's the pass, a quick slant over the middle, and it's complete. Fumble of football. Miles has it. And a key turnover that time on the nice catch by Loia McCary. And McCary was hit, let loose of the football, and Miles College on the recovery.
Well, one thing that Miles does, they create havoc. 29 turnovers in the season by this defense. Hard hit following the football, and Gregory Matthews was there to pick it up. This is the defense where they said we have to have turnovers, and on the season they forced 13 fumbles and 16 interceptions. Now make that 14 fumbles.
And a big turnover that is for Reginald Ruffin's defense, as they keep Alabama State from being very close to taking the lead in this game. And now Tommy Neely trying to engineer a drive with 4:36 to go in the half from his own 5-yard line.
No.
And Neely looking over the middle that time to Devin Brown, and he threw into a lot of coverage, a lot of black shirts around the junior wide receiver out of Cincinnati. One of them, Trayon Garnett.
And the reason I say no, watch number 8, the free safety here at the middle of your screen. All he's going to do is just follow the quarterback's eyes. He's taking him to the ball and makes a break on it. You got to do a better job of your eyes. That's what they used to say. He's telegraphing his throws. Well, he was telegraphed from a mile away on that throw.
Neely is 3 out of 9 for 30 yards. In his relief role to the injured David Whipple, who has a right shoulder injury and will not return. Neely throwing on the near sideline that time. It looked like his receiver, his intended target, Ernest Bell, might have actually stepped out of bounds before he caught that one, but incomplete nonetheless. So it'll be a big 3rd down play again. If Alabama State gets a stop here, barring some miraculously good punt, they should have great field position as we get late here in the first half of the Turkey Day Classic. Neely working with the empty backfield once again, a formation that has produced good results so far for Miles. Neely faking, now throwing far side, has a man open on the far side of the field, Trey Smith, but he overshot him.
They're calling the plays. I give credit to Maurice Flowers. I like the scheme they're bringing into this football game, and the backup quarterbacks say they're backups for a reason. And Neely was a third-string quarterback, but then LeJon Cordier was injured, the original backup, and now Tommy Neely just doesn't seem as sharp as he needs to be to give his team a chance.
Second consecutive 3-and-out for the Miles Golden Bears offense. Nick Christensen punting deep to Khalid Thomas and gets that one away. It's short, and it'll be fair caught at the 36-yard line. And great field position for Alabama State. Only a 31-yard punt, no return. Alabama State in good shape. Can Brian Jenkins' team take the lead? We'll be back.
Shop like a pro at Bass Pro Shops for huge Black Friday savings. Like Redhead men's 5-pocket jeans for under $10.
Hobbs Creek flannel shirts for only $10.
And save $150 on this.
ESPNU College Football is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Keep your ride running longer, stronger with Napa know-how. And DuluthTrading.com, home of Buck Naked Underwear.
Right here at Hornet Stadium, and football going on the field and football going on the hill outside of the stadium in the left end zone. Now they're playing on a very slanted surface, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the quality of play at all, although they can use Jay Walk in their quarterback, I think.
Yeah, they've been getting it in.
Toppings guns one down the middle, and a diving effort that time by his intended receiver Leah McCary. I want to call him Loyola all the time, but Leah McCary on the attempted sliding catch. Second and 10, approaching the 4-minute mark here in the first half. Wide receiver bubble screen, and a nice play that time coming up from the cornerback spot. Andreas Worthen with a nice open field tackle for a loss of 4.
That's why you like big cornerbacks in your secondary. Worthen, 6'2", 190 pounds, long, rangy, able to avoid the would-be blocker and make a great open field tackle.
Third down, just when it looked like Alabama State would be in great shape to make something happen. Now they're forced into a big 3rd and long. 3rd and 13. Ball placed at the 39-yard line. Toppings flushed out of the pocket, throwing wide open downfield, and he just missed him. He skipped it in there to Palmer Graham, who all he had to do was grab it and waltz into the end zone because nobody was within 5 or 6 yards of him.
Gets flushed out of the pocket a little bit and doesn't step and set his feet. Doesn't really step into this throw. Going to his left. He's got time to step into that throw and deliver a strike. Nobody around him. Instead, he skips it and brings on the punt unit.
So 3 and out. Cedric Poole is back deep to receive this one, but Miles not necessarily expecting a big kick, but they do get one as it's angled to the far sideline, and a nice roll on it. It'll be marked out at the 6. A nice punt on the bounce, 33 yards that time by Trevor Vincent. So again, Miles will be pinned deep in their own territory at the 6-yard line, 1st and 10 for the young quarterback Tommy Neely, who has not been very consistent, as you might expect a young quarterback not to be very consistent in this particular situation, as David Whipple left the game earlier in the 2nd quarter with a right shoulder injury and will not return.
And right now they need a couple first downs. The defense has been on the field for a majority of the 2nd quarter. They've done a good job of keeping the Hornets off the scoreboard. They need some help from the offense to eat a little clock and not allow Alabama State to get the ball back in this half.
Whipple turns and hands it to his little scat back Christian Mays, and Mays doesn't get much. In fact, he might have lost a yard on the play as Alabama State getting good penetration with that bigger defensive line.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they've got 3 timeouts. I'm surprised they're not taking a timeout right now. Obviously, Miles is trying to run some clock in this situation. I would call a timeout, particularly if you get a big stop here on this down in the field of play. See, they're taking their time. They're going to let this clock wind down. You see Coach Ruffin, he's looking at the scoreboard. He knows what he's trying to accomplish.
Neely rolls out and hits his receiver in the flat. And found number 7, Vincent Davis, the tight end H-back for 3. Davis into the game with 3 catches for 59 yards and a touchdown on the year. And so it's a timeout on the field taken by Alabama State, which you were calling for about a minute ago.
Yeah, with the team trying to run it out, you probably could have gotten this ball back with maybe 3 minutes to go. Instead, you lost an additional 35 seconds.
Go get a second plate of food and come back, because we'll have an interesting halftime show coming up for you here from Alabama State in Montgomery. We'll talk with John Grant, the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl's executive director. Looking forward to the big game December 17th in Atlanta. Courtney Berry, this is a All-America Mike linebacker who has a story and you won't believe it until you hear it. Talk about an off-season of trials and tribulations. This guy's had one, and we'll have that for you. And of course, we'll recap the first half highlights and numbers. And nobody's brought us any turkey yet, but we got something lined up after the game.
Martha's got us now.
Yeah, don't feel sorry for us up here.
Martha Hawkins is going to feed us good.
Absolutely.
All right, I got you.
I got you. You always do, partner.
Yeah, I got you.
You know.
But I'm still all the hype. I mean, think about, we got the Celebration Bowl Central, fantastic job knocking off North Carolina A&T to become outright Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference champions. He's going to need to make a throw here.
And he does make an excellent throw on the near side. He finds the H-back Vincent Davis once again down the far sideline, picks up 24 yards.
This is Tyree Leonard does a good job.
I'm sorry.
Running the quarter pattern. He stuck that ball in a very tight window. Maybe Tommy Neely starting to gain a little bit of confidence in this football game.
Tyree Leonard, number 3, with it bunched up there, looked like a 7. We are high above the field, but my partner has the, 20/27 vision? Which I didn't even know. I didn't even know that existed. Anyway. A completion of shorter variety that time. Ernest Bell is the recipient of that. Going to pick up a 5. So that's a huge third down play, and he really spun that one in there pretty good, that pass.
He needed to thread the needle on the throw. They really need that first down to close out this first half and not allow Alabama State an opportunity to try and take the lead going into the half.
Now they're getting close to being in a position where they can take a couple of deeper shots and try to get some points on the scoreboard. They started like gangbusters going on their first 2 possessions.
I'd be wary because Neely hasn't looked sharp, and you always have to have the fear of the interception with your third-string quarterback in the game.
Neely throws it out far side. Dangerous pass. It seemed to take forever to get out there. And Ronnie Scott was closing in fast and makes the big hit after the reception. So only a pickup of 3. So it'll take set up 3rd and short. 3rd and 2. Getting close to the minute mark remaining here in the first half of the Turkey Day Classic.
Take your time. I wouldn't snap this ball. I know you think you want to go for it, but you have to be defensive in this situation here and say the number 1 ally we have is the clock. Run it down for as little time as possible left.
And on different pages that time, Neely and his intended receiver. Receiver does a deep out pattern. Neely throws the fly, and it's incomplete. So 36 seconds to go. 4th and 2, and Miles a punt.
I still say Khalid Thomas, the senior, has been playing fantastic tonight. They need to get him the ball now on a punt return. If you outkick your coverage, Thomas can hurt you.
Thomas 10 carries for 111 yards and a touchdown. He has been outstanding, and of course ever dangerous on the punt return game as well. And this is a high one Angled away from Thomas, and it'll go out of bounds. They'll probably mark it about the 21-yard line. So a 38-yard kick, no return. And we'll see what Brian Jenkins and company want to do in this one with 28 seconds left. And the ball 78 yards away from pay dirt, if you will.
If you know Brian Jenkins, well, I know he wants to get to the locker room so he can hurry up and bite off a piece of the Hornets. They're going to get an earful in the locker room.
What does he call himself? Old school, hard-nosed coach. He's known
emphasis on hard.
Yes. He'll get in a player's face, but he loves each and every one of them dearly, and you'll see a little bit of that in halftime as he speaks about his senior leader, Mike linebacker Courtney Berry. It's a very touching story you won't want to miss here. And they're going to run it, and they do run it up the middle. And so they're going to be content, as you suggested, my friend, to get in the locker room and see whose heads he might bite off a little bit. Khalid Thomas favoring a lower leg injury as he's going to take himself out of here. And we are winding down the final seconds here of the first half. So both teams head into the halftime locker room here at the Turkey Day Classic, the 93rd edition, with that man, Coach Reginald Ruffin's Miles College Golden Bears, leading the Alabama State Hornets 14-12 as we go into halftime here in the 93rd Turkey Day Classic here in Montgomery, Alabama. We've had a good one. Miles off to a great start, but Alabama State has fought back. A 2-point game at the break. Halftime festivities begin in just a few moments. Stay with us. We're back in Montgomery, Alabama, along with Jay Walker. I'm Eric Clemens, about to kick off the third quarter of the 93rd Turkey Day Classic. Miles College leading Alabama State University by 2, and my partner Jay Walker, you got a winner for the performance of both bands at the half. Who do you like?
You know, I've never done this before. Miles came in here and surprised the heck out of me, man. They were good and loud. 24 tubas from a little small school like Miles. I'm giving a shout out to Miles. Alabama State, I think Alabama State fought their way back when they did the TLC in the new edition review. It was good, but that band right there, never really heard them, don't remember them. I'm not going to forget them. That's a great band there from Miles College.
Both bands an outstanding job. But our partner, Jay Walker, gives a slight edge to halftime to the Miles College marching band, and the Miles football team has a slight edge on the scoreboard, 14-12.
That's what I mean. Alabama State better get their act together. You can't lose on your homecoming period. You can't lose halftime and lose the game. Things can get very testy here in Montgomery as if the spice level isn't high enough already.
We have called for extra security for you, by the way, to get out of here.
I'm probably going to need it. I'm probably going to need it.
I think those food invitations have been revoked, too. And the kickoff, and blazing right up the middle. Nobody will catch him. Streaks into the end zone, but we do have flags on the play after the touchdown return. But boy, nobody touched him after he got his wedge and his lane opened up the middle.
Well, we said that Coach Jenkins was going to go in there and fire him up. And obviously the Alabama State special teams respond with the huge kickoff return. That's the response they had to have. Special teams making a huge play as they sort through the penalties, which probably came after the touchdown.
After the score, we have a UNS on the return team, number 8. That is his first unsportsmanlike. The score is good. The penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
First return TD of the season for Alabama State includes a kick, punt, or an interception.
Yes, this is almost untouched. Let's see, did anybody get a finger on him? No. He went untouched on a kickoff return in his own end zone. Fantastic job to start the second half for Alabama State.
And the kick for the extra point by David Albert is good. And so Alabama State, its first lead of the game, and they were not real close to touching Bradley Street on this return.
And a good return in those. Once you get the kicker in your sights, that was the one hand they got on him after that. Foot race between he and the kicker, and a good returner is going to win that matchup most of the time. So things just went from tight game to now all of a sudden Miles College early in this contest. Head coach Reginald Ruffin, they have to respond. You have to respond when a team makes a play like that on special teams.
Of course, a one-score game. And 2 missed efforts on 2-point conversions means a touchdown automatically puts Miles College up by a point even without an extra point. So that may come into play before we're done tonight here at Hornet Stadium. Beautiful night for anything and everything. Football, cookouts, get-togethers, and we've had everything here all week long leading up to this 93rd Turkey Day Classic. As David Albert getting ready to set up the kickoff.
Kicking from the 20-yard line because of the unsportsmanlike penalty on the previous play on the touchdown return.
Actually, not Albert. That's Trevor Vincent, who handles the punting duties and the longer kickoff duties for Alabama State here. But Miles should get the ball with pretty good field position because of the unsportsmanlike penalty after the touchdown. The 100-yard kick return by Bradley Street to give Alabama State its first lead. Vincent gets pretty good leg into it, but it still comes down at the 23. And this is Cedric Poole trying to find a wall on the far side, and Poole goes down trying to cut it back at the 32-yard line, where Miles takes over 1st and 10.
Now we'll see what type of adjustments both teams make. I think, as you mentioned earlier in the first half, I think Maurice Flowers has to scale back the offense. You've got Thomas Neely in the game. You know, this is David Whipple, Tommy Neely, night and day. I think you scale back the offense until Tommy Neely finds a comfort zone. I think Alabama State, you lay off the blitz, make sure that this young quarterback, the sophomore, can beat you throwing the football.
Bunch formation to the near side right for Neely. And he's going to throw it over there immediately with a little bubble screen and a good pickup on 1st down as they get it out across the 35 to the 38-yard line, picking up 7.
Great job by Courtney Berry playing the inside linebacker position. When they throw those wide receiver screens, you need a mobile linebacker that can run sideline to sideline and chase down those ball carriers. Courtney Berry, one of the best to ever do it here in Montgomery. I don't want to offend my good friend Eddie Robinson, but Courtney Berry, one of the best to ever do it here in Montgomery.
And that one anticipated. And do they call that a lateral? And no whistle is blown yet. Ricky Haley was in there to get his hand on it immediately. And according to no whistle blowing, they're ruling that a backward pass, which meant that would be a free ball.
Called a backward pass, and that was a great job by Miles of getting on the football. I don't know. but it's a great job. That's what you have to do if you're William Kelly. Just pick up the football.
The previous play was ruled a backward pass. It's under further review.
Going to take another look at it and see if it indeed was a backward pass.
He's on the
on the
No,
30.
that ball's going forward. It was tipped, but he was, he was throwing it to a guy that was at least half a yard to a yard ahead of him.
I think they'll probably pull this one back and rule out an incomplete pass rather than a backward pass and free ball.
I guess the key right now is how many yards. If you call the backward pass, they ended up losing some yards on the play after Kelly got it. Whereas if it's a incomplete pass, ball goes back to the original spot.
So they're discussing all aspects of it now. A great play by Ricky Haley, 6'3", 245-pound sophomore out of Norfolk, Virginia. And he anticipated, because of the formation, he saw that something quick would be going out there, got his hands on it. And at the very least, it'll be recorded as a pass broken up for the defensive end.
So what's at stake here is if it's a backward pass, they lost 9 yards. If it's an incomplete pass and the ball goes back to around the 39-yard line, you're talking 3rd and 4. What do you think, Eric? Is that backward pass?
I do not believe it was a backward pass. He let it go from about the 33.5, but the ball was clearly going forward. And by the time the trajectory would have finished it, he would have caught it about the 35 or so. So
was it enough to overturn?
I think it is.
On the play was ruled a forward pass, therefore incomplete. The ball be placed at the 39-yard, 3rd and 3.
And that's a big difference. Had it been ruled a backward pass, it'd be 3rd and 12 with a 9-yard loss. So 3rd and very manageable for the young quarterback Tommy Neely and this Golden Bears offensive Miles College, which has been stagnant, of course, since the injury to their senior quarterback David Whipple, who injured his right shoulder in the 2nd quarter and is out for the remainder of the game. Now, formationally, with these empty backfields they've been running, you helping your young quarterback a little bit, take some pressure off?
You do, because the defense has to show you their hand. They have to spread out and show you where they're going to bring pressure from. A lot easier to read the keys, your keys. But the hard part is you have to make sure you protect the young quarterback. Nobody there to assist in blocking.
This is a big 3rd down play. Tommy Neely hoping to keep the drive alive. Looking far side. Overshot his man a little bit high for his intended receiver on that side as he was looking for Tyree Leonard. And that one's incomplete, and they're going to have to punt it away.
And that's one you get the most out of your pre-snap read. If you don't like it, tuck and try and run for it. They weren't bringing pressure. You only needed 2 to 3 yards. You become the running game.
Khalid Thomas standing back deep to receive this punt at his own 20. Nick Christensen punts it away. High spiraling kick coming down to Thomas at his 22, and he's taken down immediately. Alabama State takes over there. That's a 39-yard punt with no return. The Hornets of Alabama State trying to add to their lead when we come back. ESPN College Football presented by McDonald's. I'm loving it. And in part by Wrangler. Be comfortable in your own jeans. And we now have a 19-14 score. Alabama State on top here in the 3rd quarter and trying to add to it. 1st and 10 on their own 21. And we got a whistle. And so we continue. Every 2 or 3 plays or so, somebody moving in the interior. That's been the pattern of this Turkey Day Classic.
Illegal snap. Offense, number 66. 5 yards. Remain. 1st down.
And there's Kerry Williams, who's he gets our Brave Toaster Award for this one because we've seen him walk off the field after being rolled up on at least twice, and he's back out there with the illegal snap that costs him 5, so it's 1st and 15. And Khalid Thomas with a nice hole as he cuts it back up the middle, gets it out to the 24-yard line. Good pickup of 9 on first down.
And what we were talking about in between the break, time for Alabama State to run the football. Khalid Thomas, you have to force Miles to show you they can stop the run. I don't know if Miles has done that. I know Alabama State has stopped themselves from running, but make the defense show you they can stop your running game.
And here's the keeper, Quinteris Toppings, and Toppings gets out to close to the 30-yard line before he's brought down by Cedric Poole after a pickup of 5, and so that'll set up third and very short. Brian Jenkins blames this 3-7 season on everybody. We just haven't made good enough effort, he says, and haven't finished the job. And they do finish the job of getting first down yardage with Khalid Thomas up the middle, so they'll move the change as he picks up a couple. But this is the second ranked rushing offense in the SWAC. We have an injured player down on the field, Josephus Smith, who's been active from that defensive tackle spot all game long, is being attended to at the 32-yard line.
And you don't like to see injured players on the field, but football's a physical game. And when you run the football, you make it physical, and you start to wear down the defense, get caught in odd angles and predicaments.
He is one of the bigger defensive linemen on the entire roster. They're one of their heaviest at 270 pounds. He's a freshman from Leeds, Alabama.
Who's from Leeds, Alabama?
Oh man, I knew it. I dropped Bo Jackson out of the blue on you, but I can't remember.
Barkley.
Charles, of course. Sir Charles.
And they're going to need him to come back. You hope that that's just something minor, because, as you mentioned, he's the biggest defensive lineman they have. The backup at 270 pounds, just a freshman. And if Alabama State's going to start forcing the run, you need to have more mass on the defensive line.
Size does indeed matter up front in the game of college football. You got a bigger line, you should be able to control the line of scrimmage against smaller guys, especially smash mouth football straight ahead, which we've seen Alabama State run a couple plays right up the gut early on in this drive. State with 134 yards rushing to 25. That's a nice play. That time slashing in to make the stop of Khalid Thomas before he could get underway. He loses a yard on that play. And slashing in from the inside linebacker spot, Anthony Fillon, rather.
Yeah, watch him just shoot the gap, just completely unblocked. The tight end, Brandon Barnes, runs right by him. And Fillon, the freshman from Mobile.
Khalid Thomas knew immediately. He's pointing, hey, you were supposed to hit him. Toppings gets it away to Thomas, and Thomas brought down immediately after the catch by LeBaron Rogers, Mobile, Alabama, 5'8", 202-pound sophomore. He gets a yard back, so it'll be third and long for Alabama State to try to continue this drive. Toppings under some pressure, and he is in trouble. Down he goes. A host of white shirts is there as they got around the corner in a hurry to pick up the quarterback sack. Ashton McKenzie is one of the guys who got there first.
Yeah, great job by McKenzie. You'll see him right here take a great effort to come in, flush the quarterback out of the pocket. This was just all heart as he got a one-on-one matchup. Forced him out and able to wrestle him down for the sack.
Beat the redshirt freshman Jordan Williams that time around the corner, and they get a big sack. They came into the game 14.5 of the team's 18 sacks by 3 defensive linemen, and very nearly a block that time on the punt. But somehow Trevor Vincent got it away, and it'll roll dead at the 43-yard line. 28 yards on that punt, and again, Alabama State lucky to have gotten it off at all. Turkey Day Classic action continues. Talk about near misses. We'll be right back.
He once cheated death, and death was perfectly okay with it.
Alabama State leading Miles College by 5 here in the third quarter. And talk about close on the punt. We're wondering how Stevie Woods did not block it.
And when you watch the replay, look at the head of the punter after he thinks the ball was blocked. Stevie Woods going to come from this side of your screen. Now, I don't know how he just whiffs on it right there. And the punter's like, where's the ball? Where's the ball? Where'd it go? I know he hit it. Oh, he didn't block it. That's what you call a swing and a miss. In baseball, that'd be strike 3.
Miles has to get something going,
Nice
and
call.
this is a very nice quarterback draw. And actually, they snapped it directly to William Kelly, number 16, a little wildcat spread formation stuff. And Kelly picks up 22.
Yeah, Kelly in the wildcat lines up to throw a fake bubble screen, takes off running. I don't think Alabama State recognized that Kelly was in the backfield.
I thought he looked a little strange, and there it is. That little bubble screen is picked off by Ricky Haley, and he scores. Touchdown, Alabama State, 67 yards on the pick 6.
What athleticism by Ricky Haley. That is not an easy interception. We saw him deflect one earlier in the game. This time he holds on and makes the interception for the pick 6.
And unfortunately, as he gets into the end zone, he is injured and he stays down on the field. He's being looked at. And this is William Kelly trying to attempt the pass, and Haley's all over it.
Yeah, the defensive end from Norfolk, Virginia, able to make the interception and get to the end zone. Oh,
Vincent Davis.
Oh,
wow,
that leg. Oh, man.
That's a terrible injury. And they're going to have to bring the air cast and the card out for that one.
You saw that lower part of the leg. That's a tough one. Nice
Great effort by Vincent Davis to try to chase him down from behind, but the angle, and he just comes down on the lower leg of Ricky Haley, and you saw the terrible injury. We're going to take a break while they attend to Ricky Haley. Alabama State leading 25-14. We'll be back.
When I daydream, I don't think about PowerPoint charts. I daydream about football. It's such a beautiful game. It's this.
We're back here at Hornet Stadium in Montgomery, Alabama. Alabama State has just had a pick 6 by Ricky Haley, but it's bittersweet. Haley landed upon awkwardly in the end zone as a player tried to take him down. As Courtney Berry leading his entire team in prayer. Obviously a very graphic broken leg injury suffered by Haley as he was brought down in the end zone. And medical officials are attending to him right now. You see the card on the field. We, because of the graphic nature of this injury, will not be showing you a replay on this one. But believe us when we say it was a horrific broken leg injury suffered by the 6'3", 245-pound sophomore Ricky Haley, who you might remember earlier in the game anticipated one of those bubble screens and almost came up with another interception on the other side of the field, moving the other direction, I believe. No, same direction, actually. He was lined up on the opposite side and almost came away with an interception on a play that they wondered whether it was a backward pass or not. And this time he anticipated properly and took it all the way back 67 yards. And the Miles players also on a knee, many of them.
And this is something where, you know, you tell young kids at home, you know, learn. There's a reason why they've outlawed horse collar tackle. You know, we're not showing the replay, but it appeared to be a horse collar tackle. There's no place for that in the game, and because serious injuries can happen, and that was, unfortunately, that happened on that previous play in what has been probably the most stressful year in the coaching career of Brian Jenkins. To have it in the last game of the year on something like this, the injury and the stress level of Montgomery continues to become a hindrance.
So medical officials are going to roll him carefully onto the cart and then, or onto the stretcher board, and then lift him carefully onto the cart and get him to a hospital immediately for medical attention. Coach Brian Jenkins, one of the first out there when he saw the injury that his young player suffered. And now a great gesture. You see some Miles players coming out onto the field to give well wishes to a fallen warrior out there, Ricky Haley.
Class act. That's respect for the sport. You don't want anybody to get injured. Football players, we all know every play, a number of terrible things can happen. You never want that to happen to your teammate or even on your competitor. Miles' defense right now is huddled up on the 5-yard line in the circle. Just said a prayer for Ricky Haley. Prayers will be with him. Hard to focus and get back to think about playing football after something like that happens. Very emotional. You see Coach Jenkins trying to console his young sophomore.
Horrific injury like that, of course, this crowd is mostly in shock. And now they'll give a big ovation to Ricky Haley as he's carted off. Sure, a lot of things may be going through his mind with such an injury being suffered. Will he be able to come back? But that's the least of anybody's worries right now. So off the 67-yard interception return, it's almost forgotten in the wake of that horrific injury suffered by Ricky Haley. Alabama State's going to attempt the extra point and look to go up by potentially 12. David Albert's extra point is good, so now Alabama State makes it 26 unanswered points, and they lead at 26-14 with 9:55 to go here in the third quarter.
Earlier we talked about how Haley started to get a beat on these wide receiver screens. This is earlier in the quarter. Bats one away, doesn't come up with the interception, and then just now makes the adjustment, anticipates it, and picks it clean out of the air and gave him the score, which helped the Hornets increase their lead.
And it was Tyree Leonard, number 3, who ran him down and made the tackle in the end zone that resulted in the injury. I thought initially that it was Vincent Davis, the H-back, tight end, number 7, but it was Tyree Leonard, number 3, who ran down the big defensive end from behind. And so now Coach Reginald Ruffin trying to figure out a way to get his team back focused and try to find some offense, which was there on their first 2 possessions. They scored touchdowns to take a 14-0 lead, but they've done nothing since. And now Alabama State has its first 2 return touchdowns of 2016. They save their best in the return game for last. And this is Cedric Poole. Poole hit hard and fights for extra yardage. Gets out to the 16-yard line, where Miles will take over. We are at Hornet Stadium, Montgomery, Alabama. Eric Clemens, Jay Walker with you for the 93rd Turkey Day Classic. Miles College trailing Alabama State 26-14. Miles scoring the first 2 possessions. They had the ball to take a 14-0 lead. All Alabama State since. They've scored 26 unanswered.
And here's the reason why you don't give up hope. If you're Miles College, you're throwing the football. Anytime you're a team that likes to throw, you can throw yourself right back into the game. They jumped out early, scored the first 14 points of this game. Backup quarterback's in. Now, hopefully your backup quarterback will start to find a rhythm. We're still yet to see him get comfortable in this football game.
They actually used William Kelly, who's been at wide receiver most of the game, at quarterback last series. And Kelly was the one who threw that 67-yard interception to Haley for the score. And this pass from Tommy Neely was intended for William Kelly and incomplete.
The drop by Kelly. And you have to help out your quarterback. When your quarterback's struggling, you need your wide receivers to make plays. And this is a very good wide receiver group. They just need to rally behind Tommy Neely.
And Neely throwing far side, throws that over a couple of outstretched arms of defenders and off the hands of William Kelly, incomplete once again to set up 3rd and long.
And what I'm noticing from Neely is he's got a live arm. He's got 1 pitch. Just throws a fastball. Doesn't have the off-speed stuff. Everything is a fastball, straight line throw. And even on his deep balls, he throws it low line drive trajectory.
We're going to have flags on the field as Alabama State could not get a couple of defenders off the field in time before the snap, so they'll have too many men on the field. So it'll be a 3rd and 5 after this penalty is assessed against Alabama State.
There's a flag on the play.
Illegal substitution on the defense. 5 yards, replay, 3rd down.
Good job there, realizing they've got too many players on the field, not allowing them to get away with the illegal substitution as they did earlier. Not even close. You got 3 or 4 guys from Alabama State trying to get off the field.
And now we have a timeout on the field, and Coach Jenkins is really not happy with the substitutions on defense. They seem to be taking their sweet time getting on and off the field, and he calls a timeout and is going to chew somebody out about it. Hey, we want you to check out The Undefeated for exclusive HBCU content. Click on the HBCU tab on the undefeated.com rather. And of course, we're all talking about the 55-year-old South Carolina State running back Joe Thomas. And we have recaps of the Florida Classic and last week's North Carolina A&T and North Carolina Central game, all on the undefeated.com. Not a happy turkey day for Coach Brian Jenkins after that sequence of almost being called twice in a row for illegal substitutions on defense. And he is giving somebody an earful, probably his defensive coordinator. And Tommy Kelly, 3rd and more manageable, 3rd and 5 now thanks to the penalty. And Kelly buried from behind on the far side. And coming in for the sack. Davis in there on the sack. And that is a 7-yard loss on that play. Torrey Davis, the linebacker.
Davis lines up as a defensive end using his speed. 5'10", 217 pounds, built more like a defensive back, but uses speed on the edge to get to the quarterback for the sack.
High spiraling kick coming down to Khalid Thomas at his 38. Thomas gets through the defense, the first wave, and gets inside the 40, down to the 36-yard line, and he puts his Alabama State Hornets in great field position. 46-yard punt, 24 on the return for Khalid Thomas.
And watch the patience by Thomas. Once he makes the reception, watch him hesitate a little bit to let the blockers take shape. Well, give me a little hesitation move right there, jab step, then get north-south in a hurry. Great job of patience by the senior from Tallahassee, Florida.
Hornets in great field position at the 37-yard line and trying to take complete control of this one. They are up by 12 with 8:33 to go here in the third quarter of the 93rd Turkey Day Classic. We have a flag on the play.
Delay of game, offense, number 12. 5 yards, remain, first down.
And Coach Jenkins has a right to be upset. It was a change of possession. You get the ball after a great punt return. Don't take delay of game. You've got plenty of time to go out on the field and get set. Instead, you take a 5-yard penalty. That's just mismanagement there, not good organization by the offense.
And Khalid Thomas gets the corner, and Thomas still on his feet. Inside the 30, Thomas will score. "42 yards for the SWAC's second-ranked rusher in 2016.
We mentioned earlier he was the best football player for Alabama State, even in the first half, and here able to hold his balance in gash yards. This Miles secondary, once he holds his balance to the outside, there was nobody on the second level in a position to make the tackle. Cut back, comes a foot race, and Khalid Thomas caps off the touchdown run.
And the extra point is good. So now in total control as Alabama State's Hornets on that run. He goes to 167 yards on the day and 2 touchdowns, and now 1,017 on the year. $115-yard effort for Khalid Thomas last week. And a look at his day, and it has been a big one, Jay Walker.
They've done a good job just exploiting the holes, and his vision has really come into play. His ability to see the hole, run to daylight, had to turn some speed on jets to get to the outside. And I really like this one here. This is a good one, showing great balance, which you like your running backs to have. And then the ability to make the cutback against the grain and get into the end zone. Is Coach Jenkins happy now?
A little bit.
You ever seen him smile?
Actually, he smiled when he met us yesterday. Before, when we did the interviews with Courtney Berry and himself. He says he's learned quite a bit this season. He wants to become a better communicator, a better mentor, a better man, a better coach, because he really thinks this team has what it takes to be a contender in the SWAC.
This is going to be good. Football 101. When you set up, even if you set up return left, if they kick the ball to the far right, just go straight ahead. Don't try and run all the way across the field to get to the left side, or else bad things are going to happen. They've got a nice wall set up left. You have to abandon and just go straight ahead, pick up what you can. You can't outrun the whole team, and they've got the ball on the 1-yard line now.
Now it's Tyree Leonard trying to find a wall on the opposite side of the field, and again, it was kicked in the total opposite corner. So not much chance of him making it all the way 53 1/3 yards across the field to pick up the ball. And he is smacked down at the 1-yard line. So Tommy Neely, the backup quarterback, really under the gun now. His team trailing by 19, 33-14 here with 8:11 to go in the third quarter.
And their own band's not helping by playing while they've got the ball.
Well, if they get penalized, it'll be at the half-yard line, only half the distance.
Homecoming Turkey Day is back here in Montgomery.
You've seen a lot of alumni, old friends reuniting this week all around with activities around the campus in the downtown area. Of course, famed comedian, talk show host Steve Harvey been instrumental in promoting this event, and first-class concert last night. A couple concerts last night, actually. A soul concert with recording artist Kim and Frankie Beverly and Mays, legendary soul R&B group. Two yards picked up on that second down play, so it'll be 3rd and 7 now. And Alabama State fans can breathe just a little easier. And I can't speak to how difficult it must be to see a horrific injury like we saw and get everybody back into football mode again after something like that happens.
Yeah, it's tough, but give them credit. They've really focused since the injury and playing some pretty good football.
And going deep that time was Neely. He throws that one out of bounds, and one of the Alabama State defender is on the wrong sideline, surrounded by white shirts. Pushes a couple people away from him. Trayon Garnett was back in coverage that time. And so 3 and out once again for the Golden Bears of Miles College, who have done absolutely zero offensively since they scored on their first 2 possessions with quarterback David Whipple, who's of course left this game in the second quarter with an injury. Nick Christensen, end over end line drive punt, and Thomas bouncing off his couple tacklers there, and then finally grabbed by the jersey and brought down at the 35-yard line. Let's take a look at tonight's Bringing the Flavor as we get some extracurricular stuff on the field. It's brought to you by McDonald's.
Did you notice that from the Bringing the Flavor? Alabama State started off the game in pregame in black helmets, then went and changed to all white helmets.
Interesting.
These kids with these uniform combinations today, man, they get it all now, don't they?
Several different styles of helmet and jersey, and you guys just we barely had a home and road jersey. Huh?
That's it. Hey, you're lucky if Pop gave you a new pair of sweats. You only had, I think I had one decal like my whole year. By the end of the year, it was like coming halfway off the helmet. They've got different decals. I thought the black helmets were sweet.
Yeah.
With the chrome logos.
Really stylish.
They changed it up and went to the white.
With serious injury to Ricky Haley and other things, a lot of penalties and things, it has been a very lengthy third quarter here at Hornet Stadium in Montgomery. Still 7 minutes to go as we are around the 3-hour mark in game time. Our 3 o'clock Central Time kickoff here in Montgomery. Here's Quinteris Toppings looking for it all, has his man, got him, touchdown. Oh, is Alabama State pouring it on? Austin Bemis on the receiving end of that one. 35 yards on the scoring play.
Beam is just going to run a seam route, and Toppings recognize him. He gets a nice clean release early, well behind the defensive back, Cedric Poole. Great concentration.
And David Albert's extra point is good. So now make it 40 unanswered points for the Hornets of Alabama State and counting. And now the Hornets are in total control, 40-14 over Miles College with 6:53 to go in the third.
And I think now you're starting to see FCS Division II showing up just because of the depth. You know, you start getting injuries this time of year, injuries in this game, and the kids from Fairfield, Alabama, gave him a game first half, but the injury to the quarterback position just completely changed this football game dynamic.
Alabama State, of course, coming into this one 3-7 overall. Disappointing, to say the least. And 3-6 in the conference. But a look at the way things shape up. Grambling State.
Ooh, the Bayou.
The Bayou coming up.
It's going to mean something. Trip to the SWAC championship on the line. Alcorn State has already clinched a spot in the SWAC championship. Who will it be? Guys from Southern or boys from Northern Louisiana, the G-men?
Well, they both have some dynamic offensive weapons. And it should be a great matchup in the Bayou Classic.
And I've said this all along. Everything says Grambling, right? Their defense is better. The offense is scoring a ton of points. But I just keep going back to anything happens in the Bayou Classic. Anything can happen. And Southern has some offensive firepower with talking about an artillery, the SWAC's all-time leading rusher, Austin Howard, the quarterback, Willie Quinn, who probably drafted as a return specialist. And they can score with Grambling. But whoever's going to play defense is going to walk away with that victory.
Grambling, of course, led by Devontae Kincaid at quarterback.
Chad Williams, dynamic wide receiver, NFL talent.
He caught about 700 yards with passes the one time we had him. It seemed that way anyway. Everything they threw his way was being caught and turned into yards. I think he went over 200 yards that game, if I remember correctly. And now the young quarterback, Tommy Neely, in trouble again and dropped Andre Wilson on the sack that time. Loss of 6.
Yeah, you're going to see him right here just line up and just quarterback nowhere to go. And good job of getting by the blocker and finding the quarterback. Just a 4-man rush, able to get to the QB. Things are going downhill quickly for Miles College.
You see it a lot. Again, FCS against FBS. Sometimes you get an FCS school coming into the house of the FBS team and playing well first couple of possessions, maybe even first half, and then that talent, that depth takes over for the FBS team, and you start to see them pull away in the second half, and that's exactly what we've seen tonight. As we have a flag on the field, we can't hear our referee anymore, but it is against Miles.
Delay a game, and that's something where Tommy Neely, you know, we mentioned before, third string to start the season off, comes into this game after the injury to the starting quarterback David Whipple. He doesn't have that mental clock in his head on how quick to get in and out of the huddle.
This empty backfield, 5 receivers spread out over the formation, was very effective under Whipple early in the game in the first half. Nice stroke that time from the quarterback Tommy Neely. He finds Ernest Bell for a nice gain out over the 20 to the 21. That's a pickup of 9 on that completion. So it'll now be 3rd and 12.
And those are the type of routes you have to call for him. Slant patterns, curl patterns. Because he throws with such velocity, doesn't have the touch to dink the ball in the small windows. He just likes to throw fastballs.
And that time he had to get rid of it quickly as both edge rushers were closing in on Tommy Neely, and throws that one away, and it'll be incomplete and force another punt for Miles College. And Alabama State looks like they're going to get the ball back. Nick Christensen will be punting to Khalid Thomas, who is deep at his own 38. Thomas is going to fair catch it at the 42, where Alabama State will take over 1st and 10. And again, it's great field position, 37-yard punt, no return. Now we'll see if on senior day, homecoming, you'll probably see a lot more guys rotated in and out here for the Alabama State offense and defensive teams. Younger guys getting a shot here in the final game of the 2016 season.
And I think, you know, big picture, what everybody talks about Alabama State, they want to know how close are they to competing for a SWAC championship. And that's what they brought Brian Jenkins in here to do. And I actually thought this might have been the year. You know, he had instant success at Bethune-Cookman. It's been taking a little bit longer here down in Montgomery. But, you know, he's learning a new conference. Players still have to mesh, and he's going to get the most out of his football team. Disappointing year, I'm sure, in his mind. But I do believe it's just going to take a while. The contrast in style was so different from Reggie Barlow to Brian Jenkins and the management style. Both of them effective, but in their own way. And right now, this team here looks like they're probably going to get a victory here on Turkey Day and looking towards the future, trying to compete for that SWAC championship. They got the facilities to recruit, don't they?
Right. Before those last 2 touches, the last 3 touches by Alabama State were the 67-yard interception return, then a TD run by Thomas of 42 yards, and a 35-yard touchdown reception to Bemis. So talk about red hot when they got their hands on the football. That was the Hornets of Alabama State. There's a flag down on the play, and we've had way too many of those in this contest as well.
You know what he flagged him? He flagged the band. Miles Band just got flagged. I mean, he's warned them several times. I think he's tired of warning them. You can't play when the opposing team has the ball. We saw him earlier playing when their team had the ball.
So they march it off against him. And now a timeout on the field taken by Miles.
He wants to.
Again, a 2-point game at the half. The 3rd quarter, all Alabama State. Starting with this.
They got the opening kickoff and proceeded to take it to the house. And a fantastic special teams play. And then the interception for a touchdown by Haley. And then we got a lot of Khalid Thomas starting to show why he's an elite runner in the SWAC. Just like that, a game that was a 2-point game at halftime where Alabama State was trailing by 2. Well, now the Hornets, they've rallied off 40 consecutive unanswered points. Is that what it's called? Uncontested, unanswered points?
Yeah, 40 unanswered points. And 3:41 to go here in the 3rd quarter on the Turkey Day Classic here from Montgomery, Alabama. You haven't heard us say it before. We both wish each and every one of you happy Thanksgiving. Hope your bellies are nice and full.
And happy Thanksgiving to the Clemens family.
Thank you, and to the Walkers as well.
Save me some turkey.
And yeah, fam, you know, put the plate aside, but don't worry about us tonight. We will be taken care of. Here's Quinteros Toppings on the keeper around the far side, and he gets first down yardage down to the 25-yard line. So move the change for Alabama State. 12 yards on that run.
You have a favorite Thanksgiving dish?
I just love a turkey drumstick with collard greens, some macaroni and cheese, maybe.
See, for me, it has to be. It's not Thanksgiving unless I have ham and potato salad. I can't just have one or the other. I need ham and potato salad together.
Potato salad. Yeah. Now, you like the little glazed topping on the ham, or you like the? Okay. Potato salad is a staple.
You know this quarter's going on a long time. We're talking about our food.
We're talking about food.
And we're making ourselves hungry as we're talking about it. Now I want some gravy on that turkey.
And, of course, Brian Jenkins and Alabama State going to make sure that their team going to keep the ball on the ground most of the time as we get a look at Alex Anderson, a young sophomore running back. In the backfield now, Quinteris Toppings on the keeper, spins out of a tackle and gets it down inside the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for Alabama State as they make another move into the red zone.
Should he give the ball to Alex Anderson?
I thought Alex Anderson
can still run. Look at all this lane to daylight. That will upset you. Your running back say, oh, man, he's always calling his own
there
number.
He is. And now number 5 has a big wide lane into the end zone for the touchdown. And Alex Anderson, the 6', 200-pound sophomore out of Miami Gardens, Florida, gets the score. It is his 4th rushing touchdown of the year.
Anderson's the future at the running back position for Alabama State. Big back, power, but he also has the speed, elusiveness. They expect big things from Anderson in the coming years.
And now on the fake.
Block in the back.
Block in the back, plus the play went nowhere as they tried to get that 2-point conversion back. They've missed a couple of those today.
You're up by 32 points.
And you called the block in the back. 34 points now this quarter for the Hornets of Alabama State. I think they've stunned even their own home crowd.
They're going to try and go for a fake 2-point conversion. And right here is a block in the back. Caleb Duncan, number 24, was in good position before he was hitting the back. Easy call.
So 32-point differential at 46-14 as we are at the 2:45 mark of the 3rd quarter. And many of the large crowd the stadium holds with 30,000 or so. Many of that crowd have decided, well, okay, this margin is big enough. I can get an early start on getting home and catching a late Thanksgiving dinner. But a lot of them have had their breakfast, lunch, and dinner out here with all the tailgating that goes on and all the great food that we smelled coming in here earlier today as RVs and tents and people with the grills and entire setups with televisions and the like. We're out here all day long getting ready for this 93rd Turkey Day Classic.
And the boys from Kappa Alpha Psi took care of us today.
Yes, they did.
Pregame meal. Give them a shout out. And one thing that I really like about this place, the more and more I come to the stadium, I never get tired of calling games here. And you think if the Hornets can turn the program around and start winning, this home field advantage could be huge.
This would be a very difficult place to come in for an opponent and get out of here with a victory. What a facility it is. One of the best in all of FCS football, especially in HBCU football in the SWAC conference. Flag on the field at the 20-yard line on that kickoff. Again, we haven't gone too many plays in this one without flags being thrown somewhere.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 29 of the return team. He is ejected from the game.
Ravarius Rivers.
You can't make that type of language with the referee right there. You get a penalty from the white hat. That's like messing with a judge. You don't do that. this frustration right now. Rivers, a backup defensive back who was in the starting lineup with the injury to Jaworski Randall.
Last year, Coach Reginald Ruffin was down 8 starters on his team in a 26-7 loss.
Toss the
helmet there. Frustration, yeah, absolutely. And this time he loses experience at the most important position, and it took that pass forever to get to the near side of the field. That time, lucky that one wasn't intercepted. So it'll be second down. I think there may come a time when you do some running plays and kind of let the clock run and get out of here down by 32. But that shows that there's no quit in this team. They're trying to still run the game plan, and that man doesn't know the word quit. Tenacious teams as getting the corner. This time is his running back, Jakari Jackson. Jackson starting in place of the injured Jamarcus Nance in this one.
Number 15 for the Hornets. On the tackle. A third down.
So 3rd down and 8. Throw that one, and that is through the hands of linebacker Dominique Jackson. That would have been another pick 6 and 52 unanswered points, but mercifully he drops that one. I got a question for you. Now, you've been here with me, and we've seen a lot of flags. I want to give you a guess on how many penalty flags have been dropped so far in this game.
Oh, wow. Combined for the two teams, I'm going to say 23.
Oh, that was very close. 26 penalty flags.
And it's the third quarter.
And it's the third quarter. We got an entire quarter to go. So
happy Thanksgiving.
4th down now in punt formation. Nick Christensen will strike this from about 3 yards deep in his end zone. High spiraling kick, and Khalid Thomas fields it at his 47. Thomas on the second level. Thomas spins off a tackle and gets it down inside the 20-yard line. Another senior making an emphatic statement in his final game. 32 yards on the return.
Showing the patience again, and really like the balance. Watch him just bounce off the punter on a high tackle attempt. Look at the punter. Where's the form for the punter? The punter just kind of pushes him. Lucky he didn't get injured. What has the starting field position been for Alabama State in the third quarter? It seems like every drive has started like from the 40-yard line in.
And Quinteris Toppings back out in the game as the quarterback. As you may see some of Juwan Young battle, who's been back and forth in the quarterback spot all season long, battling some injuries. Here's Toppings trying to get out of pressure, throws far side. Do they call it a catch? No, they rule it incomplete and out of bounds. So it'll be 2nd and 10.
Surprised to see them throwing the football right now, too. I mean, you've got a huge lead right now in an offense that's really struggling. I understand you keep the pressure on, but you can keep the pressure on by just running Alex Anderson, you know, the big back. They're going to have a hard time tackling Anderson. He's a load.
Some of the younger receivers, Joe Williams, that time a redshirt sophomore out of Fort Myers, was the intended target on 1st down. Now in motion is Anderson, and the give goes to Beckwith up the middle. And Beckwith gets it down inside the 15. 3rd and 6, just under a minute to go here in the third quarter.
And now they're going with a hurry-up offense.
And here's Beckwith, who got it down to about the 13-yard line. And that'll set up 4th down. And they're not going to bring the field goal team in. They're just going to run a play here. And they have to run it before the third quarter is out. About an 8-second difference in the play clock and what remains in the quarter. Anderson met hard as he tries to go off left tackle, and he'll be brought down well short of the first down. They'll turn it over on downs. And Miles College gets the ball back after a defensive stand. So won a few times in the third quarter. We see Alabama State come up short, but you know the horses already left the barn, if you will. 46 unanswered points for the Hornets.
And here's the thing, they got the stop on fourth down, but I still don't know what they can do to get back in this game and win it. They just really haven't been able to throw the football. I thought they would have had more success running the Wildcat package, which is okay, but the interception thrown by William Kelly just kind of prevented that.
And I think it's William Kelly back in there now. Spins off a tackle and gets to the outside. Kelly with good speed outside the 40 before he goes out of bounds at about the 45-46 yard line. Good work on spinning out of trouble that time by William Kelly. Picked up 32 yards. But that's the end of the third quarter. We've got 15 more minutes to play in the Turkey Day Classic. 32 points separate Alabama State and Miles College.
ESPNU College Football is brought to you by Wrangler. Be comfortable in your own jeans. And State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM.
Just about to start the fourth quarter, the 93rd Turkey Day Classic here from Montgomery, Alabama. And that's a big 34 spot Alabama State puts up in quarter number 3 to take total control of this game for head coach Brian Jenkins, leading it 46-14 as we enter the final 15 minutes of this one. Miles College with the ball, first down and 10 on their own 46.
William Kelly behind the center, Wildcat formation. He's a quarterback. He's a wide receiver now playing quarterback. Look for them to ask him to run the football a lot.
And Kelly is really caught in the backfield that time, exploding in from the secondary. Caleb Smith making the tackle for a big loss on that play, a loss of 5. It'll be 2nd and 15. Now it looks like they brought back in Tommy Neely at the quarterback spot. He's looking downfield, has a receiver crossing at midfield, and they'll get it just beyond the original line of scrimmage as he hits William Kelly. Kelly's been very active in this game, of course, in the third quarter, coming out and playing a little quarterback from the Wildcat position. Actually threw an interception that was returned for a touchdown.
And I think Kelly's going to be a good player. He's got some spark with him, explosiveness from that wide receiver position.
Neely spins out of trouble, flag down on the play in the area of holding, and Neely's going to run it out of bounds at the 46-yard line. And now before anything starts,
holding on the offense, 51, 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay, third down.
Flag was thrown in the area of holding, and let's take a look at it.
I mean, coming right up the middle, just a takedown early.
outside that time, finds his receiver, Ernest Bell. And Ernest Bell gets that up to the 44-yard line, but not enough for a first down. Not even close. I'm sorry, to the 47-yard line. So it'll be 4th down, and Miles will be forced to punt once again. They had 5 3-and-outs in the 3rd quarter alone, and Nick Christensen has been quite busy since their first 2 possessions in this game. High spiral and kick, trying to kick it away from Khalid Thomas, who has done a lot of damage in every facet so far in this one, and he fair catches it. 46-14. The 4th quarter continues. We are back, the Celebration Bowl trophy, and not much in doubt here except the final. When we play 12 minutes 35 seconds, Brian Jenkins and his squad in total control, leading by 32. Toppings going deep, and just off the hands of his intended target along the near sideline, Nigel Lee was running the fly pattern.
I don't think the ball should be caught for one, but I don't think Brian Jenkins is trying to make any friends. You're throwing the ball 1st and 10 on a team that you just ran off 46 unanswered points on.
Nigel Lee, 2nd down.
This is Anderson. Big hole off the left side, and Anderson gets out close to the 40-yard line. First down yardage and then some, and some extra whistles along the side. I do not see a flag, as we do have a Alabama State player running off without his helmet. Might have been shaken up.
Kerry Wilson, we've seen him run off because of nagging injuries all day. This time the helmet comes off, has to
and that's play.
Big hole. Beckwith gets onto the 2nd level before anybody touches him, and he gets inside the 35 to the 32-yard line. Give him 28.
Markel Beckwith on the carry. And that's all.
Topping's going to keep this one now. Gets rid of it near side. Here's Beckwith making some shifty moves down inside the 25 to the 23. Topping's going to keep this one, and the senior from 8 Mile, Alabama, spins inside of the 20. He'll be marked at the 18, picks up 5.
It's senior day, so he's trying to go out with a bang, calling his own number. And I really don't think that this is what Coach Jenkins wants him to do. He wants him to hand the ball off to the running back. But when you get a senior in there, senior day, gets an opportunity to make decisions on his own, he's going to try and get a little limelight, probably try and end his career with a score here in Montgomery in his home stadium.
This is Beckwith, who takes it up the middle and inside the 15 to the 13, and they'll move the chain, so it'll be 1st down for Alabama State from the 13-yard line as they try to add to their consecutive points total since trailing 14-0 in the 1st quarter. And here's Toppings again, calling his own number inside the 10.
Number 12 of the Hornets.
Seemed like so long ago. Well, it literally was. That Alabama State trailed in this game 14-0, and this sellout crowd was absolutely stunned as Division II Miles College was really controlling things, and then the unfortunate injury to their quarterback, Danny Whipple, and the entire tone of the ball game changed. This is Beckwith up the middle, and he has a lot of shoulder pads down there smacking as he gets it down to the 5.
And that's going to be the question. And I wonder, what do you think the score is if Whipple doesn't get hurt?
I think it's a lot closer.
Because he was moving the ball.
They were not able to solve him. He was able to get the ball where it needed to be, and he was able to pull it down and run with it and extend plays as well. He was giving them fits, and unfortunately, we will not know what might have been. It's a 3rd and 2. Toppings end zone. Do they rule it a catch? They do. Touchdown. And he finds his big tight end, Brandon Barnes, number 82, snuck in there. His first touchdown reception of the year, and make it 52 unanswered points and counting.
Well, they've been doing the zone read and same formation all the way down the field. Then they get close to the goal line and a little peekaboo.
What does this say about rivalries? You know, pulling it down, you're up by a bundle, and you're throwing the ball downfield and still adding points. They ran the fake extra point. That was no good. And now they're up 53-14, 53 unanswered points for the Hornets of Alabama State, who have been stinging ever since the second half began.
Your score, Alabama
ESPNU College Football is presented by McDonald's. I'm loving it. And in part by Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here.
Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl coming up on December the 17th from Atlanta, Georgia. Alabama State hoping to be a team in the future that's in contention for that coveted trophy. Have to win a SWAC conference championship. A lot of face mask grabbed on that kick return as the head of Devin Brown turned all the way around by Kadeem Thomas on that tackle, so that's an easy.
During the return, face mask, 45. 45 of the kicking team. 15 yards from the end of the run, 1st and 10.
Oh, that's a dangerous face mask.
They'll mark that one off. And Mitch, our official stats over there, the penalty number 27. Number 27. And this is Jakari Jackson. Jackson off the right side around the corner. 3 yards on the pickup, as now you start to see both teams bring some of their reserve players in.
Guess that'll cap off the career of Courtney Berry, linebacker, Alabama State. The most heralded players in their history. The ghost, Roderick Henderson, clog in the middle.
And the sheer size alone, he'll get a look from some people as a run stuffer, a potential run stuffer in the NFL, I would think. And that was a Jackson around the far side. Little resistance over there. Picks up good yardage, gets it down to the 43-yard line for a 1st down.
They don't do a better job of securing the edge, and Brian Jenkins is going to tell the backups, all right, come have a seat.
Courtney Berry, I hope you were with us at halftime to see that amazing story of a guy who's having double knee surgery at the end of the season, and then later to develop blood clots that were threatening to affect his lungs, and that's a life-threatening type situation. And he overcame all of that to come back and play and provide leadership and teaching, and his outlook and attitude on life are just amazing.
45 of the offense. That is his first unsportsmanlike. 15 yards from the end of the run.
Larry Scott on the offense. Might have been the way he's reacting on the sideline. It might have been Ja'Carry Jackson, and they might have misidentified him as 45. Not certain on that. Might have meant 25. Oh, okay, yeah, it is 45, and follows him talking trash behind him. And I don't know how you could talk to anybody, trash or otherwise, trailing by 39 here in the fourth quarter. But again, a lot of high energy in this one. A lot of these guys from the same area were competitors or teammates, perhaps in high school, or family members who've gone to one school or the other. Certainly not the rivalry that they developed with Tuskegee over all these years, but they certainly want to come in here and wanted to come in here and show themselves as a worthy opponent. And going long. A little bit underthrown when it's all said and done down there, as he was looking for his wide receiver number 83, Rodarius Houston. On the deep pass was Tommy Neely. And so with 6:53 to go in the game, it'll be 3rd and 20.
And when you don't have a lot of trajectory on your deep balls, completing the ball down the field is almost impossible. If you don't throw a perfect pass, then it's going to be an incompletion because you don't allow your wide receiver to run underneath your throws and moving forward. That's something Tommy Neely really has to work on. When you say touch, not a lot, but you have to put a little bit more arc on your passes, and it's becoming more and more obvious it's a detriment to him.
And on the play, Christian Mays that time met hard before he can get it around the corner. So that'll set up another 4th down play. Davian Brantley was one of those, a reserve defensive back who came up to make a nice hit on the play. And there he is, the senior, Khalid Thomas. They're going to give him every opportunity to show what he's made of here in his final home game, his final game as an Alabama State Hornet. And he has been an outstanding performer during his career here. Another flag down.
False start. Offense 24. 5 yards. Remain 4th down.
What number penalty is that?
That would be
19?
That would be 28.
I'm starting to go down. I'm gonna start going every time. When we start out at 26 now.
You're gonna go down.
24.
I like that.
We may get to 0.
Optimism. I like that. I like that approach. Lee Thomas catches the low line drive kick and is brought down almost immediately at the 33-yard line. 5:39 to go. Alabama State in control.
There's.
Hey, we're back here in Montgomery. Many moons ago, it seems, that we had parades and all kinds of activities around the Turkey Day Classic. That's when the sun was beaming brightly. Now it is dark, and we have been going for nearly 4 hours. And Alabama State fans a lot happier than those folks in the Miles band. But Miles performed admirably here at halftime. Smaller band, but they have a booming sound. And
oh, stop. I don't think Miles was smaller.
Well, I mean, in terms of number.
School. No. I think their band may be bigger than.
Oh, I don't think so.
Really?
I think
okay.
no. But they got 24 tubas.
They got 24 tubas. That stands out.
And that
And I want to make sure that Alabama State fans don't go saying, hey, they definitely got beat, because I really thought the TLC performance was nice.
And we should have counted them at the start. That's like 5 right there, 6. Well, at least it's not a long ride home for them. I mean, not terribly long.
That is true.
Just outside Birmingham.
See that too, but just keep going.
Yeah, they
go.
There are a lot of them. And then they form a box around the entire band, which is great. And if you're a player with any pride, and I know these Miles players have a lot of pride, it's got to be a little chip on your shoulder, get a little salty when the star running back of the team is still in and carrying the ball. But it is senior night, and they want to, I guess, get him touches and so forth.
You know, and I'm torn on how I feel about that. You know, it seems like you would want to say, my last game I'm playing on the field, but I wouldn't mind, you know, watching some people play that I haven't seen play before. You know, some of the backups getting there and play. You're passing the torch to the next generation.
And Toppings gets out of trouble and dumps it off to Khalid Thomas, who's ridden out of bounds.
And then, of course, let's not forget, since I went to Howard, you know, you go over to the sideline, you know, you look in the stands and see some of your friends. We used to like that. That made it worthwhile when the game was well in hand.
Yep.
But yeah, Toppings going all the way. And let's not forget, there was no guarantee he was going to start this football game either.
Right. Coach Jenkins talks about his preference to use multiple quarterbacks just to give different looks, but it's been QT, the senior, Quintez Toppings, the whole way. And on the 3rd down and 7 pass, it is incomplete.
You know, Jenkins got the philosophy when he first got the job at Bethune-Cookman. When they had an unbelievable year, and they had a quarterback named Matt Johnson, MEAC Offensive Player of the Year. In the Florida Classic, Matt Johnson gets injured. Next week, they play in the FCS playoffs. They host the game. They don't have Matt Johnson. So Jenkins at that point said, I will never go again being so reliant on one player. And you can tell. That's why he wants competition at all positions. And he says that's his philosophy. But the flip side, in talking to him, he said, you know, he wants to become a little bit more quarterback friendly. You cannot play quarterback effectively always looking over your shoulder about when's the next guy coming in. If I make a couple of mistakes, I'm going to the bench. You know, if you're going to ride a quarterback, if he throws an interception in the red zone, you don't pull him. You say, hey, did you learn from it? Don't make the same mistake and then move forward. And I think that's probably going to start happening. He'll start to progress a little bit and trust the quarterbacks. Nobody's going to be perfect, but if they're efficient most of the time, it's learning. You learn through your mistakes.
We'll add that he has been very successful in his coaching career, winning championships by using that multiple quarterback philosophy. But it is the most important position probably on the field, especially on the offense. And if you got a guy that has some abilities to do things and make things happen, I think you almost got to rely on that guy. It's kind of a position that demands that.
Yeah, and you want the ball in your hand as a quarterback, because there are many times where you play the game and you might have made some mistakes in the first quarter, like John Elway. John Elway had games where he would stink it up for 3.5 quarters, but what do you remember? Last 2 minutes, if he's in striking distance, he's going to beat you. And that's what you want. It's a fake, really.
Well, they threw the pass on 3rd down, so they fake it on 4th down from punt formation.
I mean, I just don't know.
Thomas carries there, and because of the change position, the clock stops.
Andy Smiley, see, I understand that. And I don't really. I mean, I want to know, how do you explain that to Coach Ruffin, what you just did? You guys, you know, it's a coaching, you know, it's a brotherhood. And you almost say, you go for a fake. How do you want Coach Ruffin to respond? I mean, you want him to be happy about it? I mean, what do you want him to do? So that's when you get icy feelings at the post-game handshake.
And going off the right side and met hard. As Christian Mays, we'd have another flag down on the field, and that's getting us close to the big 3-0 for both teams in the game.
Illegal formation on the offense, 5 men in the backfield. That penalty is declined. Second down.
Second and 10, of course, it's an understatement to say that Coach Ruffin was expecting a much different result than he finally wound up with from his team in this one, especially after getting out to a 14-0 lead, which the Golden Bears did. Now trying to come to the near side and taken down for a loss is Jonathan Esther. And Esther is brought down by Dominique Jackson on the near side of the field.
And the team is, you know, they've given up, and not to say they quit, but they're running the ball. It's a team that likes to throw the football. They're running the ball, trying to run clock right now, which is the right thing to do. Hey, you got us today. We can't get you.
On 3rd and 15, and could have been some encroachment going long on the far side of the field. And will they call that an interception? They will. It is intercepted on the far side of the field, but we did have some encroachment potentially at the line of scrimmage.
Offsides, defense, number 94. 5 yards, remain, 3rd down.
Robert Easterwood came up with the interception on that play, but there's the big guy. You talked earlier. You can't be that size and be missed.
A nice interception, but clearly Tommy Neely knew that Henderson was offside, just throwing it up for grabs, trying to see if a big play can be made downfield.
We talked a little about the bigger picture of the Turkey Day Classic and finding an opponent for Alabama State. Tuskegee pulled out of the game 4 years ago because they wanted to compete for the NCAA Division II championship. If you're playing in the Division II playoffs, you can't play in this game. If you can play in this game, you can't play in the playoffs. And every student athlete wants to go for a legitimate shot at the national championship in their level, and that's one of the reasons Tuskegee pulled out of this game. And Miles or any other potential opponent from a Division II conference would have the same dilemma possibly.
Yeah. And last year it was tough because when you talk to Miles, they thought they would have made it into the playoffs. They had an 8-2 record a season ago. Thought they would have qualified for the playoffs, but because they had elected to play in this game.
And the game changer here, 3rd quarter. Alabama State actually trailed by 2 at the half. Opening kick of the 3rd quarter. And that is number 6, Bradley Street, going 100 yards. And then the big interception return for the touchdown by Ricky Haley. Of course, suffered that horrific injury on that play as he went to the end zone. Then Khalid Thomas around the corner. And he scores. He's had a big night. And then going for it all to his wide receiver, Austin Bemis. And then Anderson going in for a score. And 34 spot that the Hornets put on Miles College there in the 3rd quarter to put this one away. Inside of 2 minutes now. Turkey Day Classic. So glad you're with us here on the ESPN family of networks. And a fumbled snap and exchange. And Quinteris Toppings going for that football. And might have hurt himself going for it on that play, but that's a turnover.
Yeah, just between Khalid Thomas and Terrace Toppings. Poor ball handling skills by Toppings.
And that fumble recovered by LeBaron Rogers on the defense, and now Miles.
Let's see.
And Toppings going for that fumble, takes a nice jarring shot to the head area. Now on the handoff, Sha'Carri Jackson going off right guard and does not get there. Miles doing a little hurry up inside of 90 seconds to go, and there's Jackson trying to go up and over the pile, cannot get there. I don't think he is in. So it'll be 3rd down and go. And they're going with the hurry up. They want to get these points on the board if they can.
No. Oh, they gave it to him?
They say he broke the plane. Touchdown, Jakari Jackson.
I thought he got turned sideways.
Yeah, the official on the far side was signaling touchdown. And they've placed the ball back at the spot where you'll go for the conversion.
I mean, he's going to leave his feet and get turned sideways right there. Happy Thanksgiving. They gave him a gift.
And so they're going to go for the 2-point conversion after the Jackson touchdown. Snaps a string of 53 unanswered points for Alabama State. And that corner route looking for Mitchell Parker, 6'4" sophomore wide receiver out of Clanton, Alabama. And that one was thrown about 2 feet off the ground. No air under that at all. If it was a back shoulder fade, it was more like a back ankle fade.
You got a 6'4" wide receiver. I'm sure they wanted to give him a chance to make a jump ball.
Taking a look at the box score in game here in that big 34 spot for Alabama State in the 3rd quarter. Whipple, after leading his team on a couple of scoring drives in their first 2 possessions, leaves with an injury, right shoulder injury. And all Alabama State from that point out, especially in that 3rd quarter. Miles still showing some school spirit, even though they're trailing by 33 with less than a minute to go.
But, see the little kid that snuck in there with the band section?
I did not.
Right there.
Okay. He's trying to pick up the steps.
Start him young down there in Alabama.
I'd say he has a future. And see on the hill there in the left end zone, football game between the kids has died down over there. Short pooch kick, fair caught at the 27-yard line, where Alabama State will take over, and I'm reasonably sure they'll take a couple knees in the victory formation. And this Turkey Day Classic will be over after a runtime of somewhere around the 4-hour mark. Ryan Jenkins, his team will finish 4-7 on the year. The Golden Bears of Miles will finish the season at 5-5. Miles scores first and last, of course, in between. 53 unanswered points for Alabama State, which does not look like they're in the victory formation and ready to take a knee here as they bring in another quarterback, their 3rd quarterback, David Whitlow. And wow. And that is Roderick Henderson, who came on senior night to get a carry.
They gave the ghost a carry.
The ghost gets a carry. And I don't know, he looks like he's signaling first down. Big fella, you didn't quite make it 10 yards. And wow, some veiled messages being delivered back and forth in this one. Now they appear to be in victory formation where they'll wind it down. And that will be it.
The final score, Alabama State 53, Miles 20.
And be a very interesting handshake between the two head coaches with some of the stuff we saw. But a good handshake and hug. So Coach Ruffin, a good sport about everything.
That's a long talk. Normally the coaches don't talk that long. That was a long talk.
Be interesting to know what they said to one another.
I'm going to find out.
That's right. If anybody can find out, Jay Walker is going to find out for us. Final score 53-20. Alabama State wins the 93rd Turkey Day Classic with a 34-point explosion in the third quarter to put this one away. It's been a great Thanksgiving Day. So glad you could be with us. For all of us here at ESPNU, Eric Clemens saying, so long, everybody, from Montgomery, Alabama.
ABC News. This is a special edition of